Hey everyone, What If Fan here, bringing you another exciting part of What If Natsu had dual elements. You can find the fanfic title and the original author's name on my Patreon page. Make sure to check it out and show them some love. If you enjoy the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an upload. Also check out my Patreon channel for early releases of all the series, where you can find all the series released one day ahead of YouTube. Alright, let's jump into it. Chapter 19, Natsu vs. Gajeel. With Urza. What were those flames? Where did all that power suddenly come from? Urza thought, as she stared down at her trembling hands. I'm still shaking from their raw power. I've never felt something so hot or intense before, and I've never seen Natsu angry before. It looked like he was ready to kill somebody. Was it because they hurt Lucy? Does he low dash? Urza? Her name suddenly being called, snapped Urza out of her thoughts. She turned her head to see Mira Jane, Gray, Elfman running towards her. She quirked an eyebrow when she saw a blue-haired girl hung over Elfman's shoulder. What are you doing here? Gray exclaimed, as Elfman laid the blue-haired girl gently onto the ground. Who's she? Urza asked, casting a glance over at the unconscious girl. She's a member of the Elemental Four. Turns out Natsu knows her. Elfman explained, as he rubbed the back of his head. And he asked us to watch over her. Urza. Mira Jane said, spotting Arya's unconscious form a few feet away. Don't tell me actually fought in your condition. I told you I couldn't let Natsu fight alone again. Urza said, as a small smile graced her face. You know I can be as stubborn as him sometimes. So, you beat Arya all by yourself? Gray asked, causing Urza to shake her head. No, Natsu helped. I just came in and finished him off. Urza explained, before she let out a dry chuckle. I must look pathetic. I didn't want you guys to see me in such a weak state. Looks like I've still got a long way to go, eh? Urza? Mira Jane whispered, crouching next to the scarlet-haired knight. You felt that, right? That incredible surge of magical power, and that wave of heat. It felt like Natsu's but so much more intense. I didn't just feel it, I saw it, Mira. Urza replied, as she released a shaky breath. It was incredible, Mira. Natsu unleashed some type of blue flames. Blue fire? Mira Jane asked, quirking her head in confusion. Yeah, they were the hottest and most intense flames I've ever felt. Urza said, as she locked eyes with Mira Jane. He started using them after he heard Lucy being hurt. As soon as Natsu heard her scream, I could actually feel his anger, Mira. It was so thick in the air. Then out of nowhere his magical power just spiked, and those blue flames exploded outward and encased his whole body. This must have happened because they were hurting one of his mates. Mira Jane thought, remembering the book she had read with Lucy. Dragons will destroy all those who hurt their mates. Before Mira Jane could think any further, a sudden chill ran through the room. A shiver ran down everyone's spines, as the temperature in the room suddenly dropped. An incredible magical power began to draw closer, causing all of the fairy tale mages' eyes to widen. This feels nothing like Natsu or Master, it's so cold, and evil. What the hell is this feeling? Gray exclaimed, as his whole body began to tremble in fear. A man shouldn't be shaking this much. Elfman shouted, trying to stop the chills that were running up his spine. My. A deep voice echoed out, followed by the sound of slow clapping. You all put on such a magnificent show. The fairy tale mages all spun around to see Jose's looming towards them. I never expected you fairies to be so entertaining. Jose smirked as he began to walk towards the fairy tale mages. I was following a rather large source of magical energy, but it seems I just missed it. Instead I found the rest of you pathetic fairies. No. Mira Jane breathed out, her voice laced with fear. He was searching for Natsu. Jose. Urza growled, glaring at Phantom Lord's master. I won't let this bastard lay a finger on Natsu. His magic, it's so evil. Mara Jane thought, as she cupped a hand over her mouth. The white-haired barmaid had to suppress the urge to gag. It's so vile that it's actually making physically ill. I should really thank you for providing me with such an entertaining performance, Jose said, a menacing smile spreading across his face. But, I think I've had my fill. Elfman, Gray said, as he stepped in front of Urza. Right. Elfman nodded, protectively standing in front of his older sister. He may be stronger than us, but we have to protect Urza and Nachan. It's what a man would do. I'm sorry, but there will be no more miracles for you fairies, Jose said, as a massive amount of magical power gathered around him. Get back! Urza screamed, just as a wave of powerful dark magic smashed into Gray and Elfman. Both mages were blown across the room by the attack and knocked unconscious. Gray! Elfman! Mara Jane yelled, before she was blown back as well. You bastard! Urza roared, as she shot forward. The scarlet-haired knight's body began to glow bright white, just as she was engulfed by a blast of Jose's shade magic. However, Jose quirked an eyebrow as he watched Urza begin to cut through his magic. Re-equip, Black Wing Armor! Urza ruthlessly slashed through Jose's magic, as she continued to charge towards him. Just when Urza was about to swipe at Jose, he disappeared in a cloud of black smoke. Suddenly, Urza's eyes shot open as Jose reappeared behind her. Phantom Lord's master grabbed her ankle and hurled her across the room. Urza quickly adjusted herself and came to a skidding stop. You're the girl who stopped Jupiter head-on along with that pink-haired boy, using a unison raid, Jose said, scanning Urza up and down. The scarlet-haired knight was panting heavily, and looked to be on the brink of exhaustion. How are you still standing after all this? My love for my nakama makes my heart stronger, Urza explained, as she fiercely glared at Jose. The scarlet-haired knight tightened the grip on her sword, when she thought of all of her comrades that Jose and his guild had hurt. An image of Natsu suddenly flashed through Urza's mind. If I'm fighting for those I love, I could care less what happens to my body. I will protect my nakama and loved ones at all costs. The strength of your heart is so admirable, Jose said, a twisted smile spreading across his face. Yes, I think I will enjoy killing you. But not before I make you watch each and every one of your friends die. Mechanical Giant's control room. Lucy quietly whimpered as she hung from the wall by her arm, with iron bindings holding her in place, much like how Levy, Jet, and Droy had been strung up in Magnolia's southern park. Several kunai were impaled in the wall surrounding Lucy, and she winced as another one impacted into the wall just 2 inches from her head. Oh, damn it! Gadjil cursed with an evil smirk on his face. My aim must be getting rusty, because I was actually aiming for the blonde bitch this time. Gadjil, you really shouldn't be doing that. A Phantom Lord Mage stuttered out, as Gadjil twirled another kunai between his fingers. We can't kill her, remember? But I'm bored out of my fucking mind, Gadjil said, taking aim at Lucy again. Now, where should I aim for next? I've got it. I'll pop those massive tits you've got. They're big targets so I can't miss. Jay, just stop it, man. Before the Phantom Lord Mage could say any more, Gadjil spun around and hit him with a powerful headbutt. The mage was instantly sent crashing into the floor. Shut the fuck up, Gadjil growled, before he spit on the unconscious mage. I don't give a flying fuck who this bitch is. From where I'm standing, she's just another one of those fairies, a piece of trash. Who's gonna give a shit if I kill her? If she died, Master would get really angry. Yeah. Angry at you. TCH, who cares, I'll just blame it on you guys, Gadjil said, causing the Phantom Lord Mages to back away in fear. Man, this really sucks. Even those fairy idiots are throwing away their lives just cause this bitch has some cash. Ha! A dry chuckle caused Gadjil to turn back to Lucy. He was surprised to see that the blonde had a defiant smile on her face. You say something, girly? Gadjil asked, his fierce red eyes glaring at Lucy. You guys really are complete dumbass, aren't you? Lucy said, causing Gadjil to quirk an eyebrow. I feel so sorry for you fools, it might actually make me start crying. Is that right? Gajeel asked with a shrug of his shoulders. Huh, if you're able to bluff in a situation like this, maybe you're worth something after all. You assholes aren't even a little scared, are you? Lucy asked with a smug smirk on her face. However, she winced as another kunai suddenly impaled in the wall on the other side of her head. What was that, Missy? I don't think I heard you. Gajeel taunted, cupping a hand over his ear. You're the ones who'd be in trouble if I died. Lucy said with a smile, as she felt a familiar magical power rapidly approaching. But this time it was much stronger and more intense than she ever remembered. There's no way Fairy Tail, or Natsu, would ever forgive you. That's the kind of guild they are. Hey Gajeel, it's getting really hot in here. Yeah, it feels like the temperature just jumped 40 degrees. Shit. Now the room's starting to shake. What the hell is happening? You'd all end up spending the rest of your lives cowering in fear from the scariest guild in the world, as they hunted you down to the ends of the earth. Lucy said, as she raised her head to lock eyes with Gajeel. Natsu would personally find you, and tear you apart limb from limb. Interesting little theory you've got there. Gajeel said, as another iron kunai formed in his hand. Gajeel. I'm really starting to freak out here. Fuck. My boots are starting to fucking melt. Why's it getting so hot in here? I feel like I'm being cooked alive. Maybe I should put your little theory to the test? Gajeel asked, cocking his arm back. The Iron Dragon Slayer took aim at Lucy's head, and threw the kunai. Gajeel. That's actually going to hit her. Seconds before the kunai could actually hit Lucy, the room began to shake violently. Then in a brilliant flash of blue fire, the floor to the room exploded. From the hole burst Natsu Dragneel, with Gajeel's kunai in his hand. The kunai instantly melted in Natsu's hands. The dual dragon slayer crashed into the ground, sending out a shockwave of blue fire. The scorching flames consumed all of the nearby Phantom Lord mages, sending them rolling onto the floor as they tried to extinguish the flames. I knew it. Gajeel said, as he smirked at Natsu. I knew I recognized your scent. Natsu. Lucy said, tears of joy falling from her eyes. I knew you'd come and save me. The pink-haired dragon slayer glanced over at Lucy, and snarled when he saw that she was strung up like Levi. His flames became even more intense when he spotted the kunai that were in the wall around Lucy. Don't worry, Luce. Natsu said, his voice eerily calm and collected. I'll make these bastards pay for everything they've done. No one hurts my girl and gets away with it. Why your girl? Lucy thought, her eyes shooting open in shock. The blonde could feel a bright blush spreading across her face, despite the situation she was in. So Gajeel was cut off when Natsu's flaming fist smashed into his face. The Iron Dragon Slayer was sent flying across the room by Natsu's new incredible power. Fire Dragon's purifying Iron Fist. Natsu roared, as bright blue flames licked his fist. The dual Dragon Slayer stalked towards Gajeel with a dangerous glint in his eyes. No more talking, Gajeel, just fighting. Scorching blue flames danced off Natsu's form, incinerating everything they touched. I better finish him off quick, because this is seriously draining my magic. Are you okay, Lucy? Happy asked, beginning to pry to iron bindings Lucy in place. Happy! Lucy exclaimed, relieved to see the blue cat freeing her. Out of my way! Natsu said, as he shoved a Phantom Lord mage out of his path. The enemy mage howled in pain, Natsu's flames instantly searing his flesh with a second-degree burn. The Dragon Slayer glared at all the other Phantom mages around him. My fight is with Gajeel, if you all stay out of this you won't be harmed. But if you try to intervene, I'll take you down as well. Almost instantly the Phantom Lord mages retreated as far back as they could. Shit, that hurt! Gajeel exclaimed, touching a hat to the burn mark on his face. The Iron Dragon Slayer's skin was a lot tougher than his comrades'. That didn't stop him from receiving a stinging first-degree burn on his face though. I don't know where this power came from, Salamander, but dash. Lighting Dragon's Static Claw. Natsu roared as he kicked Gajeel in the stomach with an electrically charged foot. Instead of yellow, Natsu's lightning was now bright orange, and filled the entire room with static electricity. All the air immediately left Gajeel's lungs, as he was sent crashing into a wall. Gajeel fell to the ground, but found that he could barely move. He could still feel Natsu's lightning coursing through his body, nearly paralyzing him completely. I said no more talking. It's not just his flames, his lightning is stronger as well. Gajeel thought, struggling to move his limbs. I've never seen Natsu like this. Lucy said, as she watched Natsu send Gajeel flying with a powerful stream of orange lightning. Me neither. Happy said, pulling out the last bolt that was holding Lucy's bindings. Right now, Natsu's stronger than ever. He's doing to save you and protect the guild. I know he is. Lucy said with a smile, as she rubbed her sore wrists. Don't get so damn cocky. Gajeel exclaimed, grabbing some iron debris off the ground, and shoving them into his mouth to rejuvenate his energy. Feeling the new energy coursing through him, Gajeel charged towards Natsu. Iron Dragon's Club. However, Gajeel's eyes widened when Natsu dodged his attack and caught it underneath his arm. Suddenly, Natsu's body was engulfed in orange lightning, which coursed through Gajeel's iron club into his body. The Iron Dragon Slayer winced as the lightning surged into him. Natsu was surprised to see an animalistic grin spread across Gajeel's face. Without warning, Gajeel launched a surprised attack. Iron Dragon's Sword. Gajeel transformed his other arm into a large jagged blade and swung it at Natsu. I'm surprised you can still move. You're one tough bastard, I'll give you that. However, Natsu said, as he stopped Gajeel's blade with his free hand. Gajeel was stunned to see that his attack was stopped so easily. You're going to have to try a lot harder if you want to lay a finger on me. The hand stopping Gajeel's blade was suddenly engulfed in blue flames. Natsu's blue flames were so hot that they began to melt the blade in his grasp. Gajeel roared in pain and returned his arm to normal. The Iron Dragon Slayer clutched his severely burned hand, which was already starting to blister. I told you, I'd pay you back for everything you did. And I meant everything. You bastard. I'm going to kill you, then slaughter the rest of your guildmates. Gajeel shouted, intensely glaring at Natsu. It's time we put this to an end, Salamander. Oh, I'm nowhere near done with you. Natsu said, as he cracked his knuckles. I think after I beat your ass, I'll string you up like you did Levy and Luce. Put you on display to warn others not to fuck with Fairy Tail. You're going to wish we never met. Gajeel said, his entire body beginning to change. The Iron Dragon Slayer's skin was being covered in metallic dragon scales. Iron Dragon Scales. Gajeel shot forward and tried to punch Natsu. But the pink-haired Dragon Slayer was prepared for this, and easily blocked Gajeel's attack with his arm. Natsu grunted as he was sent skidding back several feet. Seems you get a damage buff along with increased defense. I think you might even leave a bruise. Natsu said, as he inspected his arm. But you're gonna have to do a lot more if you want to really hurt me. Shut up. Gajeel roared, laughing forward and attempting to kick Natsu. The Iron Dragon Slayer's kick was so powerful that it produced a gale. However, Natsu simply ducked underneath Gajeel's kick. Fire Dragon's Purifying Claw. Natsu sprang off the ground and smashed his blue flaming foot into Gajeel's chin. The Iron Dragon Slayer was sent flying back, the iron scales on his chin starting to melt. Natsu winced when he landed back on the ground. Damn, that actually really hurt. It was like punching a fucking wall. The dual Dragon Slayer peered across the room, and saw that Gajeel was slowly getting back onto his feet, chewing on more iron scraps. Fuck. I'm starting to run out of magical energy here, but there's so much scrap lying around that he can keep replenishing his magic. Natsu's eyes widened when he saw Gajeel's cheeks begin to bulge. Iron Dragons. Oh fuck. Gotta act fast. Fire Dragons? They're both going to use a breath attack? Lucy exclaimed, before she dove behind nearby cover. Everyone down. Roar. Purifying roar. Natsu launched a large stream of blue flames from his mouth, which clashed with the iron tornado that Gajeel fired. Both attacks briefly battled for dominance, before Natsu's fire won out. The blue flames pushed Gajeel's roar back, until they struck the Iron Dragon Slayer. A blue fiery explosion rang out when Gajeel was hit. Natsu was starting to pant, as he tried to spot Gajeel through the smoke and debris. The pink-haired Dragon Slayer heard Gajeel before he saw him. Just as I thought. Gajeel's voice rang out through the smoke. When the smoke blew away, it revealed that Gajeel had indeed been hit. But he had sustained much less damage than before. You're getting weaker, Salamander. What's the matter, running out of magical power? Natsu continued to pant, as he glared at Gajeel. Your breath attack may have done some damage to me, but it looks like you're about ready to pass out. Is that new power a little too much for you to handle? Natsu. Lucy breathed out, fear starting to spread through her. He's right. Natsu does look really worn out. He must not have full control over his new powers yet. That guy is no joke. Happy said, as he gazed at Natsu with worried eyes. I may be getting a little tired, but I still have enough energy to kick your scrap metal ass. Natsu taunted, a smirk spreading across his face. My flames aren't just normal flames, you know. Dragon flames can incinerate anything, and I'll use them to melt you down. Blue flames exploded off Natsu, and cloaked his entire body. If you don't start coming at me with everything you've got, I'm going to smash you to pieces, Iron Gajeel. Natsu rolled his shoulders, and leveled a harsh glare on Gajeel. Well, I think we know each other's strength by now. Playtime is over. W-ah. Lucy stuttered out, as she stared at Natsu with wide eyes. He wasn't going all out. There isn't enough room in the sky for two dragon in this sky. Gajeel said, wiping some blood from the corner of his mouth. I'll strike you down, Natsu Dragneel. Outside Fairy Tail. Behind Fairy Tail, the defending mages were fighting a losing battle against Jose's ghost soldiers. Mage after mage fell before the shadow soldiers, as they pushed towards the guild hall. The guild began to crumble, when the shadow soldiers used battering rams to smash down the walls. Our guild, it's... Kana struggled to get back onto her feet, as she helplessly watched her home begin to crumble to the ground. And no, it can't end like this. Not our guild. Tears began to form in Kana's eyes, and she let out a piercing scream. Jose, you son of a bitch. It's not gonna last. Please stop. It's already been reduced to rubble. Why are you still attacking it? Natsu, anybody, please save our home. Kana whispered, clenching her fists on the ground, tears streaking down her cheeks. Back with Natsu and Gajeel. Lightning Dragon's Static Iron Fist. Iron Dragon's Fist. Both mages struck each other in the face, sending each other flying in the opposite direction. A large explosion rang out, which sent all the observing mages flying backwards as well. Heh, you're getting weaker and weaker, Natsu. Gajeel taunted, as he quickly got back onto his feet. Before your lightning attacks would almost completely paralyze me. Now they're just tickling me. Fuck you. Natsu panted out, wiping sweat from his brow. I've still got enough left in my tank to take you out. Well, see about that. Gajeel said, before both mages charged towards each other again. Once the mages met, they unleashed a fury of attacks on each other. Natsu dodged one of Gajeel's punches, and reared back with a blue flaming fist. Fire Dragon's Purifying Iron Fist. Natsu's punch connected with Gajeel's face, and sent the Iron Dragon Slayer skidding back. Within seconds Natsu was on Gajeel again. Fire Dragon's Purifying Claw. However, Gajeel was able to dodge Natsu's attack due to his slowing movements. The dual Dragon Slayer was starting to become sluggish and sloppy with his attacks. Gajeel quickly countered with an iron-coated elbow to Natsu's jaw. Quickly recovering, Natsu hit Gajeel with another flaming punch. They're incredible. Lucy breathed out, watching the Dragon Slayers decimate each other. I can't believe this guy is going toe-to-toe with Gajeel now, he must be getting pretty tired. I don't believe it. Fuck you, salamander. Gajeel roared, grabbing Natsu's scarf, and hitting the pink-haired with a devastating headbutt. Natsu's vision went blurry momentarily from the iron scale-enhanced headbutt. This is going to fucking hurt, Natsu thought, as he cocked his own head back. Fire Dragon's purifying sword horn. Natsu's flaming headbutt sent Gajeel tumbling back, and caused him to release his hold on Natsu's scarf. Gajeel steadied himself and ripped some iron paneling from the floor. The Iron Dragon Slayer evilly smirked, as he took a large bit out of the metal. I'm getting real sick of watching you eat, Natsu said, glaring harshly at Gajeel. I'm all fired up now, Gajeel said, as he wiped the metal fragments from his mouth. Fuck you. That's my line, Natsu roared, charging towards Gajeel. Lightning Dragon's static claw. Too slow, Gajeel said, as he sidestepped Natsu's attack. Iron Dragon's club. Natsu gasped in pain when Gajeel's attack slammed into his stomach. The Dual Dragon Slayer collapsed to his knees, and clutched his injured stomach. Natsu was breathing heavily as Gajeel stalked towards him. Without warning, Gajeel kneed Natsu in the face, sending the Dual Dragon Slayer tumbling backwards. Fire. Lighting. Do I have any celestial spirits that can use fire or lightning? Lucy asked, frantically searching through the small pockets of her skirt. However, Lucy's eyes widened when she remembered that she had dropped most of her keys when she was first captured. The only key I have on me is the one I just got, Sagittarius. Lucy pulled out Sagittarius' key and stood onto her feet. I don't have a contract with it yet, but I've got to help Natsu. Lucy raised Sagittarius' key, and it began to glow bright gold. I am the one who connects the road to the celestial spirit world. Thou shalt respond to my calling and pass through the gate. The key began to glow brightly, as Lucy pumped more magic into it. Open. Gate of the Archer. Sagittarius. A bright golden light shined in front of Lucy, and moments later a man in a horse costume appeared. Sagittarius. Yes, you called? Sagittarius asked, as he saluted Lucy. What the hell? Lucy breathed out, staring at Sagittarius with wide eyes. It's a guy in a horse suit? Happy obviously pointed out, as his mouth hung agape. We'll make a proper contract later, but can you make fire or lightning? Lucy asked, her eyes pleading for Sagittarius to be able to help. Sorry, Sagittarius replied, as he shook his head. My skills lie only in archery. Loose, Natsu said, getting the blonde's attention. The pink-haired dragon slayer was panting heavily as he spit some blood from his mouth. Please stay out of this. It's way too dangerous, and the last thing I want is for you to get hurt any further. Oh, okay, Lucy said, as she pushed Sagittarius out of the way. Damn it. I feel so useless right now. Fire Dragon's purifying sword horn. Natsu rocketed forward, his entire body engulfed in bright blue flames. The pink-haired dragon slayer slammed into Gajeel's stomach, but came to almost an immediate stop. Is that it? Gajeel asked, as he hoisted Natsu up by his ankle. Guess you're not so tough when you're hungry. A wicked grin spread across Gajeel's face, before he slammed Natsu into the iron floor. Then eat some iron. Tears formed in Lucy's eyes when she saw Natsu cough up a mouthful of blood. I have no further use for you. The Iron Dragon Slayer picked Natsu up by his head, and threw the Dual Dragon Slayer across the room. Get out of my sight, you fairy trash. Natsu went tumbling across the room, and came to a skidding stop just outside a large hole in the wall. Hell yeah. Gajeel's the man. He totally kicked that guy's ass. No. No way. Lucy whimpered, tears flowing down her cheeks. The blonde tightly clenched a hand over her heart. Natsu can't lose to him. Take a good look, Gajeel said, as he burst out into laughter. At the thing you're all fighting so hard to protect. Natsu slowly raised his head, so that he could gaze out of the hole in the wall. What he saw caused his heart to momentarily stop. The guild where he had spent most of the last 7 years, the guild where he had met his best friends and forged everlasting friendships, the guild he called home was now a pile of rubble on the horizon. Natsu could hear the cries of his nakama as they wept bitter tears. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. Fairy Tail had fallen. And no. Natsu breathed out, tears stinging the corners of his eyes. It can't be. As Natsu watched his home crumble, his fist clenched tightly as he remembered the first day he had joined Fairy Tail with Urza. 7 years ago, X777. Wow! This place is huge! Natsu exclaimed, as he wandered around the guild. So this is a mage guild? It is quite impressive. Urza said, her uncovered eyes scanning around the guild hall. Loud laughter and shouts drew Urza's attention to the other side of the guild. And it's so lively. Again, I welcome you both to Fairy Tail. Makarov said, as he walked up to the two children. Hey Ji-chan, why's this place called Fairy Tail? Natsu asked, gazing up at the sign that hung above the door. Do fairies even have tails? Makarov said, which caused Natsu to quirk an eyebrow. Do they even exist? No one can say for sure. Like those fairies, this guild is an eternal mystery, a never-ending adventure. Makarov smiled when he saw Natsu and Urza's eyes light up. That's the true meaning behind the name. Now why don't you both go start introducing yourselves? I'm sure you'll make lots of friends. Until that time, do your best to protect Fairy Tail, okay? Lisanna, I'm so sorry, I couldn't do it. Natsu said quietly, as he tried his best to hold in his sobs. They destroyed our home. I wasn't strong enough, I couldn't stop them. It's all my dash. Natsu stopped himself before he could finish his sentence. He remembered what Mira Jane had said to him a few nights before, her words slapping him as hard as her hand. Don't you dare blame yourself, Natsu. Lisanna wouldn't want you blaming yourself. She's right. Natsu said to himself, slamming his fist into the ground. I may not be able to protect the guild anymore, but I can still protect my nakama. Natsu slowly rose to his feet on weary legs. The pink-haired dragon slayer's entire body ached as he stood back up. Natsu's breaths were heavy and labored when he took a weak step forward. I won't give up. I will protect them. Why's he still getting up? That guy's insane. That's enough, Natsu. Lucy whispered, seeing the pink-haired dragon slayer so battered and beaten caused her heart to break. Jay, just let them have me, then they'll dash. Lucy stopped when she felt a soft paw press against her leg. Looking down, Lucy spotted Happy staring intently at Natsu. Natsu's, he's not giving up just yet. Happy said, as he shook slightly. Your pathetic guild is in shambles. Dadjil said, crossing his arms over his chest. Just let it go. Fuck you. Natsu breathed out, his voice hoarse and weak. As long as I'm still standing, Fairy Tail isn't finished. Then I guess I'll just have to keep knocking you down, until you stay down for good. Gadjil said, before he backhanded Natsu across the face. The pink-haired dragon slayer recoiled backwards, but he was quickly on his feet again. I can't watch any more of this. Lucy said, as she covered her eyes. Stay on your knees, salamander. Gadjil roared, kneeing Natsu in the stomach. The pink-haired dragon slayer's eyes bulged as he coughed up a mouthful of blood. Gadjil loomed over Natsu, a dark smile on his face. Just so know, I'm not the merciful type like you pitiful fairies. After I have my fun kicking your ass, you're gonna meet your maker, along with the rest of your friends. Gadjil then began to laugh hysterically as he repeatedly kicked Natsu. Destroying Jupiter, fighting the Elemental Four, and now this. Natsu's used up too much magical energy. Happy exclaimed, as a few angry tears escaped his eyes. If he had some fire or lightning to eat, Natsu would kick your ass for sure. I understand now. Sagittarius used, surprising Lucy and Happy. They watched as the archer reached into his quiver and pulled out an arrow. It seems that there was a misunderstanding. Sagittarius readied his bow and took aim. When you asked if I could produce fire or lightning, the obvious answer to that question was no. Sagittarius' eyes locked on computer large terminal behind Natsu and Gajeel. However, it would appear that the issue is not whether I can produce fire or lightning per se, but whether or not I can generate it. It's been fun, Salamander, but it's time for you to die. Iron Dragon's sword. Gajeel yelled, swinging his transformed arm at Natsu. Stop it! Happy screamed, as he closed his eyes in fear. Just when the words left Happy's mouth, Sagittarius fired his arrow. The arrow flew inches away from Gajeel's face, and impacted into the terminal. Instantly the terminal began to spark and sputter thick black smoke. Moments later the machine exploded, engulfing Natsu in a large fireball. He created flames and electricity by blowing up the machine. Lucy exclaimed, watching as Natsu began to greedily ingest the flames and electricity. Sagittarius shot 2 more arrows, which destroyed 2 more machines, allowing Natsu to replenish even more of his magical energy. Where'd that fucking horse freak come from? Gajeel exclaimed, as he glared at Lucy and Sagittarius. Setting machinery ablaze is mere child's play for my arrows, Sagittarius said, lowering his bow. Great job, Sagittarius. You really are a master archer. Lucy cheered, as she flashed Sagittarius a large smile. Man, that really hit the spot. Natsu said, licking his lips and wiping excess flames from his mouth. I really owe you one, Luce. Thank me later, Natsu, you still have to kick Gajeel's ass. Lucy yelled, before she gave Natsu a thumbs up. Don't get all cocky just because you ate some fire. Gajeel roared, as he charged towards Natsu. I still have the advantage. Fire Dragon's purifying roar. In the blink of an eye, Natsu spun around with eyes full of fury. The pink-haired dragon slayer's cheeks bulged, before he unleashed a brilliant stream of bright blue flames. The blue flames immediately engulfed Gajeel, causing the Iron Dragon Slayer to bellow in pain as his skin was severely burned. Get him, Natsu! Happy cheered, relieved to see that his best friend was making a comeback. Levi! Jet! Droy! Ji-chan! Lisana! Urza! Lucy! Every name Natsu said was punctuated by a flaming fist to Gajeel's face. And Fairy Tail! Shit! Gajeel yelled, as he put some distance between himself and Natsu. The Iron Dragon Slayer's face was bright red and smoking slightly. Iron Dragon's roar. To Gajeel's utter horror, Natsu deflected his breath attack with his bare hands. He deflected it? How dare you lay a finger on any of them with that stupid fucking grin on your face? Natsu roared, sprinting towards Gajeel at full speed. I said, I'd make you pay for everything you've done. And I'm here to fucking collect. You're gonna wish you never even heard of Fairy Tail. Before Gajeel had a chance to react, Natsu was on top of him. Lightning Dragon's static claw. Natsu's foot sparked with orange lightning, as it smashed into the back of Gajeel's head. I'm not done with you yet. Before Gajeel could even hit the ground, Natsu grabbed a hold of him. Fire Dragon's purifying wing attack. Natsu set Gajeel's entire body ablaze, as he was sent flying across the room. The Iron Dragon Slayer crashed through a wall, but Natsu still wasn't finished. One more to finish you off. Outside Fairy Tail Guild Hall. Down by the ruins of Fairy Tail's Guild Hall, the defending mages were all surprised to see an explosion ring out from Phantom Lord's Guild Hall. Billowing smoke belched from a large hole near the top of the giant guild. Biska, can you see what's happening? Kana asked, wiping the tears from her eyes. Got it. Biska said, as she pulled out her rifle. She scoped in on the hole in the wall, and was surprised to see a man falling from it. It looks like a Phantom Lord mage got blow out of that hole. Wait. That's Gajeel. Someone's beating Gajeel. Who could it be? They must be pretty strong to be beating the Iron Dragon Gajeel. Hold up. Someone else just jumped after him. Biska said, spotting a second figure leaping after Gajeel. However, the green-haired cowgirl's eyes widened when she recognized the figure. It's Natsu. he jumped out after Gajeel. What? What's that idiot doing? Kana shouted, as she ran up next to Biska. It looks like he's. Biska could barely speak when she saw bright blue flames alight off both of Natsu's hands. When did Natsu get blue fire? This caught everyone's attention, and they all crowded around Biska now. It looks like he's about to attack Gajeel. Biska watched as Natsu clapped his hands over his head, forming a massive ball of blue fire above his head. Holy shit! Kana breathed out when she saw the ball of fire. The raging ball of blue flames was almost as large as Fairy Tail's guild hall, and they could feel the heat from where they were standing. The lush brunette rubbed her eyes to make sure she wasn't seeing things. I must be drunk. Then Natsu's attack hit, causing a flash as bright as the sun. The explosion created by the spell created a massive shockwave, which sent all of the defending Fairy Tail mages onto their asses. When the heat wave from the explosion hit, Kana could feel the fringes of her bikini topping singeing. Okay, I know I'm not drunk now. What the? Phantom Lord's Guild has been. The defending Fairy Tail mages watched in awe, as most of Phantom Lord's Guild Hall collapsed and crumbled into the water's bellow. Many of the Fairy Tail mages stood in stunned silence for a few moments. Before a loud cheer broke that silence. That bastard did it. Natsu really did it. Yeah. He took out Gajeel and most of their guild. You really are something special, Natsu. Kana said, wiping a tear from her eye. The lush brunette couldn't help but smile as she listened to her nakama holler and cheer. I'll have to think of a way to thank you for everything you've done the past few days. Seconds earlier, with Natsu and Gajeel. With flames on my right hand, and flames on my left. Natsu roared, clapping his hands together. The flames on both his began to fuse, forming a gigantic ball of blue fire above Natsu's head. Together they make Fire Dragon's Elegant Flame. Natsu hurled the massive whirling ball of blue fire at Gajeel. The Iron Dragon Slayer was completely consumed by the roaring flames. When Natsu's attack hit, a huge explosion rang out, causing a blinding flash and incredible wave of heat. All around Natsu, Phantom Lord's Guild Hall collapsed and descended into the water below. With a sickening crunch, Gajeel smashed into a still stable part of Phantom Lord's Guild. The Iron Dragon Slayer was bleeding heavily and was severely burned on a majority of his body. Natsu crashed into the ground a few feet away from Gajeel, his body battered and beaten as well. Now, you bastard, now, we're even. Natsu released a heavy sigh and plopped down onto the ground. Damn, that last attack really drained me. Natsu! The pink-haired Dragon Slayer looked up to see Lucy descending towards him, with the help of Happy. Hey Luce! Natsu cheered with a large grin on his face. Natsu! I'm so glad you're okay. Lucy exclaimed, as she ran up to Natsu and enveloped him in a tight hug. Tears began to flow from Lucy's eyes, and she quickly buried her head into the crook of Natsu's neck. Thank you so much for saving me. I'll always rescue you, Luce. Natsu said, wrapping his arms around the blonde tightly. Do it now. Show her much you care for her. The timing is perfect. You're my princess, Luce, and I'm your guardian dragon. Those words caused Lucy's eyes to widen. The blonde celestial spirit mage slowly pushed away from Natsu, and locked eyes with Natsu. And Natsu, what are you? Lucy was cut off when Natsu suddenly pressed his lips against hers. It wasn't the perfect kiss, because it was the first for both of them. But the passion and love Lucy could feel coming from Natsu took her breath away. It took Lucy a few moments to fully comprehend that Natsu was actually kissing her, but once it registered, she returned the kiss with just as much passion. However, Lucy was shocked when Natsu suddenly pushed her away. I'm sorry, Luce, I can't do this. Natsu said, avoiding Lucy's eyes. What? What are you talking about, Natsu? Lucy asked, as she cupped his cheek. Natsu, I love you. I've had a crush on you ever since we first met 7 years ago, and my feelings for you have only grown since then. Please tell me you love me as well. Why else would you kiss me like that? I think I do love you, Lucy, Natsu said, causing Lucy's eyes to light up. But, you're not the only girl I love. Not the only girl. Oh, Natsu, I understand. I know you'll love other girls, and I'm okay with it, Lucy said, causing Natsu's eyes to widen. Why you do? How could you understand? Natsu asked, earning a light chuckle from the blonde. Mira showed me a book from Levi about dragons and dragon slayers. In the book it detailed how dragon mating customs transfer over to dragon slayers, Lucy explained, as she wrapped her arms around Natsu's neck. However, the rituals change for dragon kings, like Igneel and Valinor. Dragon kings take more than one mate, up to 3 each. Dragon kings often instinctually picked a mate at first sight. They would often feel an invisible connection to their chosen mate, and would do everything in their power to make their mates happy. Natsu's eyes slowly widened as Lucy continued to her explanation. And since you were raised by 2 dragon kings, your magic is driving you claim at least 6 mates. So that pull I've been feeling was because of my magic? Natsu asked, earning a nod from Lucy. Then that means I can be with Urza, Mira, and Juvia as well? Juvia? That blue-haired girl from the Elemental Four. You felt a connection to her too? Lucy asked, causing Natsu to nod his head. Well, I guess that's fine with me. I've already spoken with Mira, and we've agreed to share you. Urza, on the other hand, will probably be a little harder to convince. Mira thinks once she sees you with me or her, it will open her up to the idea of sharing you. Urza is kinda possessive, Natsu said with a small smile, scratching his cheek. Wait, you said you'd share me with Mira? So Mira likes me? You're joking, right? Lucy asked, looking at Natsu as if he were the stupidest person in Earthland. You seriously didn't notice? Well, I kinda had a feeling, but I didn't want to jump to conclusion until I was sure, Natsu replied, as his face started to burn red. So what should I do about Urza, Mira, and Juvia? We'll worry about that later, Lucy said, a bright smile spreading across her face. For now, just kiss me again. My pleasure, Natsu said, before he locked lips with Lucy once again. This time Lucy felt a little more daring, and slipped her tongue into Natsu's mouth. This briefly took Natsu by surprise, but her quickly recovered and was soon tongue wrestling with the blonde. Both mages were so engrossed in their kiss that they didn't notice Happy off to the side, floating with his mouth agape. Suddenly the blue cat began to giggle hysterically. They ike each other. Happy purred, as he flew up to the new lovers. Yes, Happy, I do like her, Natsu said, pressing his forehead against Lucy's. And I like him, Lucy said, as a small smile spread across her face. Suddenly an explosion rang out several floors below, and Natsu felt a familiar pain in his chest. It was similar to when he had heard Lucy screaming in pain. Urza was in trouble, and her needed to go help her. Loose, Natsu said, grabbing a hold of the blonde's shoulders. Urza needs my help, I have to go help her. Go save your knight, my dragon, Lucy said, as she placed a gentle kiss on his lips. Happy, take Luce, and get her to safety, Natsu said, before he turned to face Gadjil. Aye, sir, Happy cheered, grabbing Lucy and flying to a safe distance. Oi, I know you're awake, Natsu said, as he walked up to the Iron Dragon Slayer. TCH, I can't believe I had to see you two suck face, Gadjil said, weakly turning his head to look glare at Natsu. I'm not done with you yet. Once I help Urza out, I have some questions to ask you, Natsu said, as he turned to leave. So don't go anywhere. Like I can move anyways, Gadjil said, gazing down at the burns littering his body. It still feels like I'm on fucking fire. Don't worry, Urza, I'm going, Natsu said, as he descended back into Phantom Lord's Guild Hall. Chapter 20, Fairy Law. Outside of Fairy Tale. Visca, what's going on now? Kana asked, when the blinding light had died down and the smoke had cleared. It's still kinda hard to see, Biska replied, as she peered through the scope of her rifle. But, yes. Natsu's still standing. And, Gajiel's down. He did it. Yeah. Natsu really beat Gajiel. He did it. Wait, here comes Lucy and Happy. Biska said, watching the blonde celestial spirit mage land in front of the pink-haired dragon slayer. Ah, she's giving him a hug. She must be thanking him for. Kana was surprised when the green-haired cowgirl suddenly stopped talking. Gazing down at Biska, the brunette card mage was surprised to see a fierce blush spreading across the woman's face. Oi Biska, what's happening? Kana asked, as she tapped the cowgirl's shoulder. You got real quiet all of a sudden, and you're blushing up a storm. What did you see? I shouldn't say. Biska replied, lowering her rifle, the blush on her face darkening several shades. Damn, I wish Alzak would man the hell up and kiss me like that. Gimme that! Kana exclaimed, before she snatched the rifle from Biska's hands. The cowgirl tried to take the rifle back, but Kana managed to hold her off. Peering through the scope, Kana didn't see anything too strange. What are you blushing for? It just looks like Happy's teasing them about something, and now Natsu is pressing his forehead against Lucy's. Wait, what's Natsu? Oh my god. Kana couldn't believe what she was seeing. Natsu and Lucy were kissing, and the lush brunette swore she could see some tongue. Kana. Biska hissed, trying her hardest to get her rifle back. Don't you dare tell anyone. We have to keep what we saw a secret until they're ready. Oh, don't worry, their secret is safe with me. Kana said, as she handed the rifle back to Biska. Good, now let's mop up the rest of these shade soldiers. Biska said, slinging the rifle over her shoulder. The green-haired cowgirl never noticed the smirk that spread across the busty brunette's face. I'm never gonna let those two hear the end of this. Kana thought, as she imagined all of the ways she could tease both mages. With Urza and Jose. Ha ha ha. Jose laughed, as the room began to collapse around them. Those dragons sure do love to rampage and run wild, but judging from that heat wave we just felt, it seems my iron dragon was defeated. Pant you've all underestimated Natsu, his magical power is on a level even greater than mine now. Urza said, trying her best to remain standing. The scarlet-haired knight was exhausted from the constant fighting, and was on the verge of collapse. But Titania couldn't falter now, around her laid the bodies of her unconscious nakama. If she fell now, they'd all be easy targets for Jose. Stop being so modest, Titania. Jose said, as he let out a dark chuckle. Your magical power is truly something to behold. Truth be told, no mage has ever lasted this long against me. An evil smirk spread across Jose's face, as he raised his hand. Why, if you hadn't stopped Jupiter, this may have been a much more interesting fight. However, I just can't stand the thought. Dark magical energy began to gather around Jose's hand. Of another mage of that level existing in Makarov's guild. A stream of dark energy flew from Jose's hand and struck Urza. Titania screamed in pain, as she was sent flying back into a wall. Do you have any idea why I didn't just kill Makarov outright? Urza suddenly sprang out of the wall to dodge another one of Jose's attacks. Despair. I wanted to show him true and unrelenting despair. Urza growled when she saw another twisted smile on Jose's face. How would he feel to open his eye and find his beloved guild destroyed and Nakama killed? Ah, such sorrow he would feel, I can almost see it now. I will kill that man once I know he feels true despair. I won't simply kill him. That would be far too easy. I must make him suffer until the bitter end. You disgusting bastard. Urza growled, continuing to dodge Jose's attacks. Phantom Lord has always been the #1 guild in Fiore. Jose continued, a maniacal look in his eyes. In this whole country, our magic was unsurpassed, our members' talents were unsurpassed, and our wealth was unsurpassed. But, in the span of just a few years, Fairy Tale rose to power. Jose leveled a fierce glare upon Urza. Laxus and Urza, Mystigan and Gildarts, even Natsu and Grey, their names spread as far as my hometown. Rumors of you and Natsu's legendary teamwork spread throughout the entire country. Before I knew it, Phantom Lord in Fairy Tail came to represent this country. I just couldn't stand it. They, who started out as some shitty weak little guild, now challenged the might Phantom Lord for the spot of top guild. Are you telling me this whole war was because of some petty fucking jealousy? Urza roared, charging forward and slashing her dual swords at Jose. Phantom Lord's master easily dodged Urza's powerful strikes. All this bloodshed and destruction was because you were jealous of us? Jealousy? That's not it. Jose said, as he dodged a horizontal slash. We just wish to make it painfully clear that we're the strongest guild in Fiore. For some stupid fucking reason like that. You caused all this chaos just so you could flex your muscles and show how strong you are? Urza screamed, before she was captured by Jose's magic. The scarlet-haired knight winced as the magic's grip on her tightened. Oh, Fairy Tail has been irritating me for a long time. But the trigger for this war was actually quite trivial. Jose said, as a smirk spread across his face. We received a request to recover the lost heiress to the Heartfilia conglomerate. Lucy? Urza thought, fearing for the blonde celestial spirit mage's safety. The daughter of one of the wealthiest men in Fiore joined Fairy Tail? How amazing did your guild have to become before you were satisfied? Jose yelled, with a crazed look in his eyes. If you pathetic guild had free reign over the Heartfilia's funds, then your power would finally exceed Phantom Lord's. And that is something that simply cannot happen. Urza screamed in pain, as the magic began to constrict her. The scarlet-haired knight coughed up some blood as her breathing started to become ragged. However, through all the pain Urza managed to crack a smile. You know, it's pretty fucking pathetic of you to get all worked up over who's the best. But, what's really surprising is how terrible your information gathering is. Urza said in a strained voice, as sweat began to pour off her brow. What did you say, little missy? Jose asked, glaring at Titania. Lucy ran away from home, you dumbass. We couldn't use her money, even if we wanted to. Urza explained, which caused Jose's eyes to widen considerably. She lives in a 70,000 jewel apartment that she works her ass off to pay for, just like the rest of us. She's fought with us, laughed with us, and cried with us. She became friends with everyone in the span of a few days. She's a mage of our guild. You're telling me this war started because of Lucy, heiress to the Heartfilia family? A flower can't pick where it blooms, and a child can't choose the parents she's born to. Urza became filled with a sudden rage, as she fiercely glared at Jose. You don't know a fucking thing about Lucy. Well, I guess I'll find out then. Jose said, a maniacal glint in his eyes. Do you really expect me to hand her over for free? Oh no, I'm going milk her for every cent she's worth, until the Heartfilias have no money left. I'm going to get my hands on the entire Heartfilia fortune. Fuck you. Urza roared, as she desperately tried to break free from the magic restraining her. When I get my hands on you, I'm going to kick the shit out of you. I won't let you lay a fucking finger on Lucy. Oh, I wouldn't struggle if I were you. It will all be over you soon. Jose said, as he picked up one of Urza's sword. Phantom Lord's master smirked when he felt a powerful magical presence approaching. It seems like Makarov has made a recovery. Let's make this fun, shall we? Raising Urza's sword like a spear, Jose hurled it at the defenseless knight. But before the sword could reach Urza, the blade was caught in the air. Jose caught a flash of pink hair, as the newcomer grabbed Urza and dove for cover. That wasn't Makarov. But the amount of magical power I sensed, it was on the same level as Makarov's. Who was this boy? Are you okay, Urza? Slowly opening her eyes, Urza was shocked to see Natsu hovering over her. Urza, please say something. And Natsu? Urza asked, as sense of relief washed over her. Natsu was here, the dragon had come to save the night. What are you doing here? What about Lucy? Lucy is fine. I beat Gajil, and had Happy get her out of here. Natsu explained, laying Urza's sword down next to the knight. The pink-haired dragon slayer scanned over Urza's injuries. She was bruised and cut in several places, but she'd be fine in a few days. I felt something was off, so I came rushing here to help you. Natsu gazed around the rest of the room and spotted Mirajane, Gray, and Elfman's unconscious forms. He did this to all of you? Yes, he's incredibly powerful, Urza said, as she hung her head. There was nothing I could do against him. You, hiding over there. Jose's voice rang out, startling Urza and Natsu. Are you going to cower away forever, or are you going to show yourself? Natsu, you need to get out of here, Urza pleaded, as she cupped Natsu's cheek. Whatever happened earlier? You're stronger, so much stronger than before, but you're still no match against him. He's a guildmaster and a wizard saint. The only ones who could stand against him are Master himself and guild arts. I know I'm not stronger than him, Natsu said, gently gripping Urza's wrist and removing her hand from his face. But I have to buy us some time. I just have to stall him for a little bit longer. The pink-haired dragon slayer suddenly pulled Urza in for a tight hug. Please, stay here and don't move. You'll be safe behind cover. I won't let him hurt you anymore. Natsu, Urza whimpered, as she felt tears sting her left eye. The scarlet-haired knight tightly wrapped her arms around Natsu's neck. Please don't go out there. He might kill you, Natsu. It's a risk I have to take, Natsu said, breaking their embrace. He'll be here soon, and I need to get him some extra time. Who'll be here? Urza asked, but it was too late. Natsu had already stood and left their hiding spot. Natsu, for the love of God, please stay safe. So, you're the one I sensed that incredible magical power from? Jose asked, as Natsu emerged from behind the cover he was hiding behind. Ah, you're the salamander, aren't you? I've heard so many rumors about you. If you're here, then that must mean you've defeated Gadjil. He is such a disappointment. Shut your goddamn mouth, Natsu snarled, his eyes filling with rage. Gadjil may have hurt my nakama and trashed my guild, and I can never forgive him for some of the things he's done. But don't you dare call him a disappointment. He gave me the toughest damn fight of my life, and without Lucy saving my ass I'd likely be dead right now. What? Urza thought, as she clenched a hand over her heart. Natsu, almost died? Thank you, Lucy, thank you for keeping him safe. I learned a lot from him during our fight. He didn't need to tell me anything with words, I learned a lot about him through our fists. Natsu's fist suddenly became engulfed in intense blue flames. You've corrupted him. Just like you corrupted Juvia. Made them think that Fairy Tail was a terrible good-for-nothing guild, and that we needed to be put in our place. Gadjil may be an arrogant, self-absorbed asshole at times, but I can tell that deep down he's actually a good guy, who's gone through numerous hardships, just like all of us dragon slayers. I stand for you belittling one of my fellow dragon slayers, especially one who you've twisted with your damn lies. Oh ho, and what are you going to do about it? Jose taunted with an amused look. You may be a wizard saint and a guild master, but that does mean I can't kick your ass. Natsu exclaimed, his blue flames exploding off his body. My, what powerful flames. But they won't be enough to beat me, Jose said, as dark magic surrounded his entire body. My shade magic consumes all in its path. Funny, so do my flames, Natsu said, a feral grin spreading across his face. Let's see whose magic is really all-consuming. You may actually prove be quite entertaining, Jose said, as he gestured for Natsu to attack. Come little dragon, show me what you've got. You asked for it, Natsu roared, charging towards Jose. Phantom Lord's guild master unleashed a wave of shade magic, but Natsu's fast reflexes allowed him to slide underneath it. Fire Dragon's purifying iron fist. Natsu struck Jose with a powerful flaming uppercut, sending the man into the air. Quickly following up with another attack, Natsu's cheeks began to bulge with lightning. Lightning Dragon's static roar. A large stream of orange lightning flowed from Natsu's mouth and struck Jose. When Natsu's attack hit, an explosion filled the room with static electricity. Did Did he get him? Urza asked, as she poked her head out of cover. I must say that was rather impressive, Jose said, emerging from a cloud of smoke. However, Urza and Natsu's eyes widened when Jose appeared to be completely unharmed. Those flames are the hottest I've ever felt. I think they may have even singed my hair. And that lightning is quite impressive too, it actually tickled me a little. Damn, he doesn't even have a fucking scratch on him, Natsu thought, as he grit his teeth in frustration. But I just have to hold him off for a little bit longer. He'll be here soon, I know it. Natsu's cheeks suddenly bulged with searing blue fire. Fire Dragon's purifying roar. The stream of fire erupted from Natsu's mouth, and rocketed towards Jose. But to Natsu's horror, Jose created a wall of shade magic which completely dissolved his flames. I think I'm done playing with you, Jose said in a menacing tone, lowering the wall of dark magic. You definitely are strong, you may even have the potential to surpass Makarov and Gildarts. But that means you're a threat to my plan, which means I must eliminate you. In the blink of an eye, Jose had Natsu by the throat. Natsu gasped as Jose's grip tightened around his throat. Such a shame. If only you joined my guild instead. You could have been such a valuable asset. Fuck you, Natsu said, as he definitely glared at Jose. Such insolence. What is with you fairies and your foul mouths? Jose asked, his fingers digging into Natsu's throat. However, Jose's grip slackened slightly when he saw a smile spread across Natsu's face. What are you smiling about, boy? You happy to be at death's door? Urzus, right, you really are a dumbass, Natsu said, causing Jose to snarl in annoyance. I wasn't really trying to beat you. Jose's eyes shot open when he felt a second large magical presence approaching. I was distracting your stupid ass. Why you little dash? Jose never finished his sentence. A burst of light magic collided into Jose's stomach, sending Phantom Lord's master flying back. Natsu dropped to the dropped, taking several deep lungfuls of air. You spilled much blood on this day, an angry voice said from behind a wall of smoke and debris. The blood of my children, thanks to pitiful parents, a child went through much pain, and shed many tears. Jose growled as the newcomer's figure became visible through the smoking, revealing the person to be of short stature. And that goes for more than one child, this has gone far enough. The figure fully stepped out of the smoke, revealing Fairy Tale's master, Makarov Dreyer. I must put an end to this. Master. Urza breathed out, as a single tear rolled down her left cheek. I knew you'd come, Ji-chan, Natsu said, grinning at Makarov. So, you wish to cause a catastrophe, Makarov? Jose asked with a crazed look in his eyes. If it is necessary to save my guild and my children, Makarov replied, glaring at Jose with eyes full of fury. Forest outside Magnolia. The trees, the earth, the atmosphere, they're all afraid. Poorly Yusuke thought, as she gazed up at the sky. Suddenly the pink-haired woman growled, and kicked a box next to her, sending several apples tumbling onto the ground. This is exactly why humans are so stupid. They're just a bunch of morons, who think fighting is the only way to solve anything. That dumbass, Makarov. If you want to die so badly, go ahead. See if I care. As poorly Yusuke continued to rant and rave, her eye caught an apple as it rolled away. She followed the rolling fruit until it was stopped by a masked man, who was sitting on a tree stump. Mistigan. May I? Mistigan asked, holding up the apple. I see. Poorly Yusuke said, as she rubbed her chin. I thought it was quite strange that Makarov made such a speedy recovery. You must have gathered all of his lost magic. A tick mark formed on poorly Yusuke's head when Mistigan said nothing, and simply bit into his apple. Oi! Don't just go around eating random fruit. Two giants have made their move, Mistigan said cryptically, before taking another bite of the apple. This war will end soon. A hidden smirk spread across Mistigan's face. It seems Natsu has become even more powerful. Keep getting stronger and protect those that you love, my old friend. I don't enjoy making remarks that condone humans fight one another. You're a nakama of Makarov's too, aren't you? Why aren't you out there, getting involved in the conflict some way? Poorly Yusuke's suddenly eyes widened when Mistigan reached into his cloak and pulled out dozens of Phantom Lord flags. Phantom flags? Don't tell me, he single-handedly took out all of Phantom Lord's subdivisions. I'm needed on the front line. Natsu and Master Makarov have things handled. Mistigan said, as he stood up from the tree stump. Do you have any more apples? TCH, you people truly amaze me. Poorly Yusuke said, turning her back to Mistigan. An excess of power only leads to sorrows, and anger can cause one to forget they are surrounded in tragedies. I wish to believe that those tragedies are bathed in a sacred light. Mistigan said, as he gazed up at the clear blue sky. A sacred light, that is guiding this world. With Makarov and Jose? Natsu, you did well holding him off. Makarov said, casting a quick glance over at the pink-haired dragon slayer. You've grown so much, and have become so strong, but you must get everyone else out of here. Ha! Gray muttered, as he and Elfman regained consciousness. What's this warm feeling? This magic feels so nostalgic. I'm not going to repeat myself again. Makarov said in a stern and serious tone. You all need to leave, now. Master? Gray exclaimed, his eyes widening in surprise. Why are you here? Elfman shouted, slowly getting onto his feet. Just do what Ji-chan say. Natsu said, as he hoisted Urza onto her feet and let her lean against him for support. Flame Brain? You don't want to stay and fight? Gray asked, quirking a dark eyebrow. Come on Mira, can you stand on your own? Natsu asked, as he helped the barmaid onto her feet. Yeah, I'm fine Natsu. Mira Jane said, flashing Natsu a small smile. Thanks for coming back for us. I could never leave my knight and favored barmaid behind. Natsu said, causing a slight blush to spread across both girls' faces. Now that you're here before me, I have no interest in those weaklings. Jose said, as he continued his stare down with Makarov. However, I shall slaughter them all once we're finished here. Natsu, are you seriously suggesting we just leave, Ji-chan? Gray asked, causing Natsu to release a heavy sigh. This isn't our fight, Gray. Natsu said, as he turned to exit Phantom Lord's Guild. I hate to say this, but we'll just get in the way of this fight. I know this sounds really weird coming from me, but we stand no chance against him. We need to leave everything to Master, and believe in him. Urza said, casting one last glance at Makarov. TCH, I guess you're right. Gray said, as he rubbed the back of his head. Let's get out of here. It has been 6 years since we stood face to face. Jose exclaimed, his imposing figure towering over Makarov. Who would have thought Fairy Tail could become so large in such a short span of time? Ah, but's nothing more than a mere pile of scraps and rubble now. A guild is not just a building. Makarov said, as he made several sweeping gestures with his fingers, forming dozens of small spheres of light in front of him. It is the sum of its members. Still, I am so overjoyed. Jose said, his large twisted smile forming again. For two of the wizard saints to fight to determine who's stronger. My children, I thank you all for your efforts. Makarov said to the retreating Fairy Tail mages. You've all done so well. Take pride in being members of Fairy Tail. The sky above Phantom Lord's Guild Hall soon filled with menacing storm clouds. Lightning flashed and thunder rang out. Below the ocean began to stir, causing large waves to crash into the remaining portion of Phantom Lord. Lastly, the ground began to quake, as if an earthquake had struck. Without warning, a bolt of light fired from Makarov's finger and pierced Jose's shoulder. Phantom Lord's master was sent flying back by the force of the attack. However, Makarov winced as a similar wound suddenly appeared on his shoulder. Skidding to a stop, Jose gathered a large amount of shade magic around his hands. Dead wave! Jose roared, sending a torrent of ghosts which formed a destructive wave. Makarov was prepared for this, and cast a powerful defensive spell to block Jose's attack. Jose's spell clashed with Makarov's, sending out a massive shockwave that shook the entire guild. With Natsu and the others. What was that? Gray asked, as bits of debris rained down on them. That's the power of 2 wizard saints. Natsu said, reaching the exit to Phantom Lord's Guild. You glad we didn't stay now? Seeing Gray nod, Natsu gently handed Urza over to him. Take Urza and get out of here. Wait, what about you, Natsu? Urza asked, before worry flashed through her eyes. You're not going back there, are you? Are you fucking kidding me? I may make a lot of rash decisions, but I don't have a death wish. I still have too many things to do. Natsu said, patting Urza on the head. I just have something I need to do before I head out of here. Don't worry, I'll be fine. Suddenly Natsu noticed that someone was missing from the group. Oi, where's Juvia? Huh? Gray said, as he scanned over the members of their group. You're right, she's gone. She must have regained consciousness before the rest of us, and slipped out. Damn it, she left before I could say goodbye again. Natsu said, rubbing the back of his head. She's a tough girl, so I know she'll be fine wherever she is. Plus I get the feeling we'll be seeing her soon enough. TCH, whatever you say, Flame Brain. Gray said, as he turned to exit Phantom Lord's Guild Hall. Come on Urza, let's get out of here. Right. Urza said, turning her head back to gaze at Natsu's retreating form. Stay safe, Natsu. Yeah, you better not come back more hurt than you already are. Mirajane called out, earning her and Urza a thumbs up from the pink-haired dragon slayer. Come on Nachon, we need to get out of here. Elfman said, placing a hand on Mirajane's shoulder. You're right. Mirajane said with a smile, as the fairy tale mages exited the guild hall. Back with Makarov and Jose? That was fairly impressive. Makarov said, smoke and debris blowing around him and Jose. So much power at a young age, you've definitely earned your spot amongst the wizard saints. The elderly master released a light sigh, and locked eyes with Jose. If you had used your power for good, and become a model mage for those younger than you, the magic world would have benefited greatly. Heh, are you preaching to me, old man? Jose asked, as a smirk spread across his face. It is a custom for fairy tale's justice system, I give you to the count of 3. Makarov said in a menacing tone, his body growing until he towered over Jose. Now the gigantic man loomed over Jose. Kneel. What? Jose asked in an amused tone. You think I'll bow dash? 1. Makarov's voice thundered out, as he began his countdown. Ha 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 ha. What nonsense are you spouting? There is no way I'll kneel before you. Jose exclaimed, glaring up at Makarov. 2. A large amount of magical energy began to gather in between Makarov's hands. The magical energy took the form of a glowing sphere of magical energy. You wish for me to kneel before you, and acknowledge you as the strongest guild in Fiore? Stopping messing around. We're fighting, and I am your equal. Jose roared, anger surging through his body. Forget that, I'm stronger than you. 3. You're the one who should be kneeling before me. Now die already. Crumble to dust and be erased from history, fairy tale. Jose yelled, as he began to prepare an attack of his own. Your time is up, Jose. It's time for you to receive divine judgment. Makarov exclaimed, clapping his hands together. Fairy law, activate. The storm clouds overhead separated and a blinding, almost holy, light flooded the entire area. A light rivaling Natsu's blinding area flooded the sky. Everyone had to shield their eyes from the brilliant light. The defending fairy tale mages, along with Urza and her team, were in awe of the beautiful light. Wow, what's that light? It's so bright. Oi! Something is happening to the shades. All around the fairy tale mages, Jose's shade ghost soldiers were destroyed by the intense light. The ghost's eerie screams filled everyone's ears, as they were taken out one by one. It's not harming us? Alzak said, as he inspected himself for any injuries. This light, it's friendly? Biska asked, watching the last of the ghostly soldiers disappear. It's fairy law. Urza said, as a bright smile spread across her face. With holy light, it destroys all darkness. It only harms things that the caster considers an enemy. It's a super magic that is counted as a legendary spell. That means we won. We beat Phantom Lord. When the light began to dissipate, Jose stood deathly still. Phantom Lord's guild master was a ghostly pale, and all of his hair had turned white. The formerly boisterous guild master now had a horrified expression plastered on his face. Jose's mouth hung agape, and his eyes were wide open. He would occasionally twitch every few seconds. Never come near fairy tale, or my children ever again. Makarov said, glaring at Jose. You've caused so much damage, the council is sure to take action. But for now I can only worry about my own. As Makarov walked away from Jose, he never noticed Arya sneaking up behind him. Just like before. Arya thought, as he prepared another surprise attack on Makarov. He's full of openings. I've got him. Fire Dragon's purifying Iron Fist. Out of nowhere, Natsu launched towards Arya. The dual Dragon Slayer's blue flaming fist slammed into Arya's jaw, sending the man flying through a nearby wall. Stay the fuck away from Ji-chan. Thank you, my boy, but I knew he was there. Makarov said, turning to face the pink-haired Dragon Slayer. Why are you still here? I thought I told you all to get out of here. I knew you could have gotten him, Ji-chan, but I owed him for that cheap shot he got on you earlier. Natsu said, as he rubbed the back of his head. I'm still here because I've got some business to take care of. It shouldn't take very long. ****, well, make it quick. Makarov said, turning to leave once again. This war is now over. We've won this battle. Makarov glared at the hole Arya had been blown through. If you wish to still fight, I'll obliterate you. Take Jose and get out of here, now. 2 minutes later. Oi! You still up here? Natsu called up, as he climbed back up to where Gajeel was. Yeah, I'm still here, you fucking loudmouth. Gajeel said, sitting against a partially destroyed wall. The Iron Dragon Slayer had managed to drag himself upright, despite the severe burns that covered his body. I told you earlier that I could barely move, and that hasn't fucking changed. Wow, someone's in a bad mood. Natsu teased with a toothy grin. You a sore loser or something? Shut your damn trap. Gajeel exclaimed, his blood-red eyes glaring at Natsu. You said you had some questions for me, so out with it. Your Dragon Slayer magic. Natsu said, as he approached Gajeel and sat down next to the Iron Dragon Slayer. Where did you learn it, or do you have a lacrima in your body? Lacrima? I'm fucking insulted that'd you think I have that fake-ass Dragon Slayer magic. Gajeel said, before he took a deep breath. I learned my magic from a dragon, his name was Metallicana, the Iron Dragon. So you did learn your magic from a dragon? Natsu said, as he rubbed his chin. You're the second Dragon Slayer I've met, the other one I haven't seen in, God, like 7 years now. I was raised by 2 dragons, Igneal, the Fire Dragon King, and Valinor, the Lightning Dragon King. So you really did learn magic from 2 different dragons, kings no less? Gajeel said, pondering what Natsu had said. Suddenly Gajeel's eyes widened when he remembered something Metallicana had told him. Wait a second, that blonde girl, Lucy I think her name was, is she your mate? One of them, why do you ask? Natsu replied, his eyes narrowing dangerously at the Iron Dragon Slayer. One of them? You can have more than one? Gajeel asked, earning a nod from the pink-haired Dragon Slayer next to him. It has to do with me being raised by 2 different Dragon Kings. Mating is different when it comes to Dragon Kings. They're driven to take multiple mates apparently. Natsu explained, as he continued to glare at Gajeel. Now answer my question. Why did you want to know? I just wanted to know, because it makes sense why you went so berserk when we fought. You were pissed that I hurt your mate, I'm actually kinda surprised you didn't kill me. Gajiel said with a dry chuckle. You may have heard loose, but I couldn't kill you. I would never be able to forgive myself if I killed someone in cold blood. I wouldn't be able to face my nakama again. Natsu said, tightly clasping his hands in his lap. However, if you had killed Lucy, I would have taken your life without hesitation. I can't lose her, or any of the girls I'm trying to mate with. So, I'm only give you one warning, Gajiel. If I ever see you hurt Lucy again, I will beat you to within an inch of your life. Okay, message received. Gajiel said, as he slowly inched away from Natsu. I won't lay a hand on Blondie again. So, how's Metallicana doing? Natsu asked, trying to change the subject. I dunno. Gajiel said, as his expression suddenly became downtrodden. He disappeared one day without saying a thing, he was always so selfish. Hey, Metallicana didn't disappear on July 7th, X777, did he? Natsu asked, causing Gajiel's eyes to shoot open. Do you have an idea where Metallicana is? Gajiel replied, a hopeful look in his eyes. No. Natsu replied, causing Gajiel to deflate instantly. It's just that Igneel disappeared on the same day, along with the dragon of the other dragon slayer I met. Grunt well, this ain't got anything to do with me. Gajiel said, as he slowly inched up the wall back onto his feet. Wincing in pain, the Iron Dragon Slayer pushed off the wall that had been supporting him. If you're gonna leave, you better get out of here soon. Natsu said, causing Gajiel's head to snap towards him. This is our guild. You fucking leave. Gajiel exclaimed, as he glared at Natsu. Well, the Magical Council will probably be here soon, and I'm guessing they're not going to be too kind if they catch you. Natsu said, standing back onto his feet as well. Shit, you're right. Gajiel said, as he gazed down at his feet. I better get out of here then. If you hear anything about Igneel, let me know. Natsu said, turning to leave. Find out yourself. Gajiel said, not bothering to turn and face Natsu. If I find anything out about Metallicana, I'll tell you. Natsu said, stopping Gajiel in his tracks. The Iron Dragon Slayer turned his head to see Natsu grinning at him. Besides, we're both Dragon Slayers. We need to look out for each other. I don't need anyone to look out for me. Gajiel said, as he turned his head back around. Oi, Salamander? Yeah, Gajiel. Natsu said, surprised by the Iron Dragon Slayer's sudden change of tone. For what it's worth, I'm sorry for hurting Blondie, and wrecking your guild. Gajiel said, as he hung his head. If I had known she was your mate, I would never have gone near her. I know you never fuck with a dragon's mate. I accept your apology, Gajiel, but I can't forgive you for some of the things you've done. Natsu said, earning a deep sigh from the Iron Dragon Slayer. Yeah, I expected that. Gajiel said, as he rubbed the back of his head. Maybe we'll cross paths again one day, Salamander. When we do, I want a rematch. You got it. Natsu said, a small smile spreading across his face. You know, you'll always be welcome at Fairy Tail. With those final words, Natsu turned and left Gajiel alone. TCH, like I'd ever join that pathetic guild. Gajiel said, as he began to limp away. The idea of joining Fairy Tail didn't sound so bad all of a sudden. Ruins of Fairy Tail? Wow. Makarov said, scratching his chin as he stared at the rubble that remained of Fairy Tail's guild hall. This place got trashed. You, master. Lucy said sheepishly, as she rubbed her arm. Looks like you all ran into quite a bit of trouble. Makarov said, causing Lucy's face to sadden. Don't look so sad, Luchan. A cheery voice called out from behind Lucy. The blonde celestial spirit mage slowly turned around, and saw Levy, Jet, Droy, and Rita standing behind her. The members of Team Shadowgear were all heavily bandaged, and Rita's covered in several cuts and bruises as well. It's a victory. We all fought together to achieve it. Although, our guild kinda got smashed. Droy commented with a light chuckle. Ah, we can just rebuild it. Jet said, smiling at Lucy. Levi-chan, read us, Jet, Droy. Lucy said, as regret filled her eyes. Sorry for making you worry. Levi said, causing Lucy to tear up. And no. It's my. Lucy was quickly cut off by Levi. I heard the whole story, and no one blames you for any of this, Luchan. Levi said, as Lucy began to violently shake her head. Lucy. Makarov's stern voice suddenly rang out. Happiness. Sadness. We can't share all out it, but we can share some of it. That is guild. One member's happiness is everyone's happiness. One member's rage is everyone's rage. One member's tears are everyone's tears. Lucy began to get chalked up as she listened to Makarov's speech. You don't have to suffer with guilt, we're all here for you. Please raise your head, for you are a pound member of Fairy Tail. That finally did, tears finally began to pour from Lucy's eyes. The blonde collapsed to her knees, and covered her face with her hands. Let it all out loose. Like Ji-chan said, we're all here for you. Natsu said, crouching next to Lucy and patting her back. That simply made Lucy cry even harder. Natsu smiled and pulled Lucy into a tight embrace, as the rest of Fairy Tail gathered around the blonde to try and cheer her up. 1 week later. It's been 1 week since our war with Phantom Lord. Things are finally starting to be normal again. Lucy thought, as she jotted down another note to her mother. But we've had a lot of trouble since the war ended. We got rounded up by the Council's Ruin Knights. They took us to an army camp far away for an investigation. We were questioned relentlessly every day. And after a whole week, they finally let us go. The Council is going to deliver their verdict on Fairy Tail later. But don't worry, Mom, the verdict probably won't be too serious. Because we have plenty of evidence and eyewitnesses to prove that Phantom Lord started the whole war. Anyways, Mom, I have some big news. I finally got the man of my dreams. His name is Natsu, and I'm sure you'd love him. I've had a crush on him for so long, and ever since I joined Fairy Tail my feelings for him have only grown. I recently found out that he loves me too, and we're starting to work things out. Since the army was investigating us, we couldn't really spend too much time together. But he'd always find a way for us to meet up in private. Our relationship is a little different, for reasons I won't go into, but I love him with all of my heart. Lucy suddenly winced when one of the large bruises on her side began to ache. Damn it, that really stings. I really hope this won't leave a mark. Lucy said, lifting up her shirt to look at the bruise just above her waist. The blonde sighed and returned to writing her letter. Hey, Mom, do you really think it was him who was really behind all of this? This seems too far even for him. Lucy threw, as she remembered how poorly her father used to treat her, even when it was her birthday. But why is he trying so hard to get me back all of a sudden? It's not like he ever had any interest in me. I've caused so much trouble for Fairy Tail. Mom, he'll do it again, won't he? The same thing, using the power of his money. I have to do something. Lucy let out a light sigh. Placing the letter in an envelope, Lucy sealed the letter close. With determination flashing through her eyes, Lucy grabbed another sheet of paper. Fairy Tail construction site. God damn, this is heavy. Natsu said in a strained voice, carrying over a dozen large wood planks on his back. That's because you're carrying so many, dumbass. Gray said, just as he noticed something out of the corner of his eye. But before he could get a good look, whatever was there had left. Ha! You're just jealous because you can't carry as many as me. Natsu taunted, his eyes daring the Ice Mage to challenge. TCH, if I really wanted to I could carry twice as many as your weak ass. Gray said, as he lifted a wooden plank onto his shoulder. Within minutes Gray had twice as many planks on his back as Natsu. The Ice Mage was so hunched over that his chest was only a few inches of the ground, but somehow managed to not drop the planks. Take the flame brain. Gray-sama is so strong. Juvia thought, clapping her hand enthusiastically. However, her clapping had alerted Gray. The ice mage turned his head towards the source of the sound, but Juvia had quickly ducked around a corner. The sudden motion of his head caused Gray to drop all the planks he was carrying. That was close. Ha ha ha. How pathetic. You see that, Happy? The ice princess bit off way more than he could chew. Natsu exclaimed, as he rolled on the ground laughing. Oi, you too. A stern voice called out, getting both Gray and Natsu's attention. Both mages turned their head to see Urza, now dressed in a construction uniform, with an annoyed look on her face. If you have time to mess around, get off your asses and start helping. We've got to fix up the guild as quick as possible. Master is even helping. Mira Jane said in a cheery tone, as she gestured to Makarov behind her. Fairy Tail's master was currently in his giant form, and was putting several large wooden planks in place. I'm too hungry to work. Natsu complained, his stomach rumbling to prove his point. Yeah, I'm starting to get a little hungry too. Gray said, as he plopped down on a stack of wooden planks. Out of nowhere, a blue blur went running past. Looking down, Gray and Natsu were surprised to see bentos in their laps. Where did these come from? And who left them? Natsu asked, unwrapping his bento. The pink-haired dragon slayer's mouth began to water when he saw the plethora of delicious-looking food. This looks so good. Natsu began to eat some of the food, and his eyes widened. Holy shit! This is really good. Natsu likes Juvia's cooking. Juvia thought, as she watched Natsu scarf down the bento she had left him. A slight blush spread across her face when she saw how enthusiastically he was eating it. Does Gray-sama like his? Are you kidding? I could never eat this. Gray said, pushing the bento away. Then can I have it? Natsu asked, already finishing his own bento. Fine, go ahead. Gray exclaimed, as he handed the dragon slayer his food. Sweet. Natsu cheered, tearing into the new bento. The dragon slayer stopped inhaling the food momentarily when he felt a strange sensation. Why do I suddenly want to punch Gray? Juvia's sad. Gray-sama didn't like her food. Juvia thought, as she hung her head. Juvia woke up extra early to make those. Juvia peeked around the corner again, and saw that Natsu was eating Gray's portion. At least Natsu likes Juvia's food. Natsu, Gray. A new voice said, getting both mages' attention. They were both surprised to see Lok walking towards them. But what really surprised both of them was how weak Lok looked. Natsu's eyes widened when he saw what Lok was carrying. The sunglasses-wearing mage was holding up Lucy's celestial spirit keys. Can you give these to Lucy? Those are Lucy's keys. Natsu said, as Lok handed them to the dragon slayer. Man! Lucy's gonna be so happy that you found these. Lok, your face. You look really weak, man. I haven't seen you for a while. Have you been looking for these the whole time? Gray asked, inspecting Lok's exhausted face. Yeah, it's tough looking out for the ladies. Lok weakly joked, forcing a smile onto his face. We would have helped you if you had asked. Happy said, as he flew up next to Natsu. Hey, anyway, how's Lucy doing? Lok asked, deciding to quickly change the subject. She's been locked in her room for the past 2 days. Natsu said, as he crossed his arms over his chest. She still feels down about what happened, and she wants to be left alone right now. She hasn't let anyone but me into her room. I see. Lok said, adjusting his sunglasses. Well, I better go return these. Natsu said, as he held up Lucy's gate keys. She's been worried sick ever since she lost these. I'm going with you, I want to check up on her too. Gray said, shoving his hand in his pocket. Fine, but don't get pissy if she won't let you in. Natsu said, as he turned to face Lok. You should come too, Lok. I bet Luce would love to thank the guy who found her keys. It's fine, Natsu. I've had some bad experiences with celestial spirit mages. Lok said, rubbing the back of his head. Okay then, Natsu said, as he shrugged his shoulders. Gray, you get Urza, and head on ahead to Lucy's apartment. I know Urza has been wanting to check up on Lucy. When did you become my boss? Gray asked rhetorically, leaving to get the scarlet-haired knight. When Gray had left, Natsu walked over to a half-completed wall. Poking his head around the wall, Natsu wasn't surprised to see Juvia poking her head around the other end of the wall. I had a feeling you were here. Natsu's voice caused Juvia to squeak in surprise. The water mage slowly turned around, her face bright red in embarrassment. Why'd you just take off last week, Juvia? I didn't even get to say goodbye again. Juvia didn't want to be a burden. So when Juvia regained consciousness, Juvia snuck out of Phantom Lord's base. Juvia explained, poking her finger together. Also, Juvia didn't want to have to say goodbye. Ah, don't worry about it. I'm not mad or anything, Natsu said, as he placed a hand on Juvia's shoulder. So what are you doing here? You come to join Fairy Tail? And no, Juvia replied, as her face began to a darker shade of red. Juvia just wanted to see Gray-sama again? Gray-sama? Natsu repeated with a confused look on his face. If you want to see Gray so bad, I can go get him 4-. No! Juvia shouted, her eyes widening. Juvia isn't ready to face Gray-sama yet. What's up with this Gray-sama stuff all of a sudden? Natsu asked, confused now more than ever. Geez, it's almost as if you love the guy. However, Natsu stopped when he saw Juvia's blush become even darker. Wait, you do like Gray? Juvia does like Gray-sama, she wants to try and win his heart. Juvia said, causing Natsu's heart to sink. Oh. Natsu said, his eyes filling with sadness. You cannot force her to love you. If she wants to pursue another, you must let her. All you can do is be patient, and try to win her heart. Good things come to those who wait. Well then, good luck winning Ice Princess over. Natsu said, as he forced a large smile on his face. The pink-haired dragon slayer pulled Juvia into a tight hug, before he started running down the street. Well, see you later, Juvia. I have to give something to Lucy. Natsu, Juvia said, clutching a hand over her heart. The sad look in the dragon slayer's eyes wasn't missed by the water mage. If she wants to be with Gray, I'll let her. I won't force her to love me, Natsu thought, as he made a beeline for Lucy's apartment. The dragon slayer could feel tears stinging the corners of his eyes, but he quickly wiped them away. Damn it, Gray. You better treat her right. 5 minutes later. Lucy's apartment. Luce. How is it going? Natsu said, climbing in through Lucy's window. The pink-haired dragon was hoping to see his mate, so that he could take his mind off Juvia. But when Natsu entered Lucy's apartment, he found it empty except for Gray and Urza. Is Luce not here? As Natsu walked towards his nakama, he noticed a pile of letters scattered on the floor. Picking one up, Natsu quickly scanned through the letter. It's a letter to Luce's mom. Looking up, Natsu was surprised to see that Urza had a particular note in her hand. The scarlet-haired knight's fingers digging into the paper. Hey, what's up, Urza? This note. Urza replied, as she handed Natsu the small piece of paper. Lucy says she's heading home. Huh? Natsu said, taking the short note from Urza's hand. The note simply read, I'm heading home. Natsu's brow furrowed as he read the note over several times. She must still feel responsible. Happy said, as he landed on Natsu's head. What the hell is she thinking? Gray said, tightly clenching his fists. We have to go after her. To her home, and bring her back. I agree with Gray. Urza said, as she nodded her head. We can't let Lucy leave. You guys are overreacting. Natsu said, crumbling up the letter and tossing it away. Urza and Gray shot open, as they watched Natsu relax in one of Lucy's chairs. Natsu!
How are you not freaking out right now?
Gray exclaimed, as he stormed over to the Dragon Slayer.
You basically attacked the Magical Council when they arrested Urza. And that was only a formality.
Yeah, I half expected you to be running after as soon as you read that letter,
Urza said, narrowing her eyes at Natsu. What's going on? I bet it's Macau again.
Natsu used him to trick us when the Magical Council arrested you, Gray said, as he suddenly slapped Natsu across the face. But to Gray's surprise, instead of Macau there was a pissed-off Dragon Slayer.
Fuck you, Ice Princess! Natsu roared, punching Gray in the face.
The pink-haired Dragon Slayer huffed, and rubbed his red cheek.
Now, do you both really think Luce would just run off like that?
I bet she's going to tell off her dad, and then she'll come right back.
I didn't think of that. Wow, that actually makes a lot of sense,
Urza said, as she leaned against a wall.
So what do we do?
Well, we should still go after her,
Natsu said, causing Urza to quirk a scarlet eyebrow.
We may not need to drag her back, but Luce is still gonna need our support once this over. So I want to be there right after she finishes things with her father. Natsu stood up from the chair he was sitting in, and walked back over to the window.
Gather your things, I'll meet you guys at the train station in a half hour.
Seeing Urza nod, Natsu jumped to the street below.
Besides, I have to give Lucy's dad a piece of my mind too. Chapter 21, Natsu's First Mate. The next day, Heartfilia Manor. I was hoping I would never have to come back here, Lucy thought, releasing a light sigh.
The blonde celestial spirit mage calmed her racing heart, as she walked up the pathway leading up to her old home.
Lucy was hoping to get into the manor without causing a fuss. But the busty blonde hadn't even made it halfway up the walkway before she was noticed. Oh wait. Is that you, Lucy?
A maid yelled, which caused the rest of servants to come running over.
Say what? Is it really her? No way. She's back. Lucy sniffed. Thank heavens you're safe,
the maid said, as a few tears fell from her eyes.
I'm sorry I worried you, Spedo, Lucy said in an apologetic tone, rubbing the back of her head.
The blonde grunted when she felt Spedo suddenly hug her tightly.
It's okay, Spedo. See? I'm totally fine. Look, Lucy,
an elderly servant said, as he handed Lucy a small stack of books.
These books come all the way from the Alvarez Empire in the West.
Please tell me you haven't been neglecting your studies,
another older servant said, but this man definitely had the appearance of a mage. Celestial spirit magic requires a large amount of trust and love. Of course I've kept up my studies. I've been working very hard,
Lucy said in a cheery tone, a bright smile on her face.
I don't want to let Mom down.
I became a celestial spirit mage because of her.
Lucy was soon surrounded by a large group of people,
all of them excited to see her, and asking her various questions. The blonde celestial spirit mage smiled awkwardly as she tried her best to answer the barrage of questions.
Where have you been the past year? Just traveling around and sightseeing. Did you meet any new people? Make any new friends?
Of course.
Were you ever in any danger? Not really.
There was a few close calls, but I was never in any real danger.
Did you meet any boys? Maybe go on a few dates? I guess you could say that I have a boyfriend,
Lucy said in a quiet tone, as her face burned bright red. But Lucy had spoken so softly that most of the people around her hadn't heard a thing she said. However, before someone could ask Lucy to repeat herself, she was saved by the house's chef.
Well, she's at that age, you know,
the chef said, giving Lucy a quick wink. A girl as smart and beautiful as her, of course she's had a man or two visit her.
Heh, they never change, Lucy thought with a wistful smile. Lucy-sama, your father has asked to see you in the main study immediately,
a servant called out, as he ran up to Lucy. TCH, even after running away for a year, I'll be waiting in my room.
What a surprise, Lucy thought, releasing a heavy sigh. Dad hasn't changed at all either. Come, come.
Speto cheered, as she began to push Lucy towards the manor. We can't have you seeing your father as these rags.
Oi, these aren't rags,
Lucy exclaimed in a somewhat offended tone.
Natsu bought these clothes for me.
It was the first gift he ever gave me as his girlfriend. Letting out another sigh, Lucy allowed herself to be led into the mansion. There's no point in arguing, because they won't take no for an answer, and they wouldn't understand anyways.
10 minutes later.
Did I really have to wear something this frilly? Lucy thought, gazing down at the elegant pink dress she had been practically shoved into. However, she couldn't stop the sad smile that spread across her face. It was her mother's favorite dress after all. I always wanted to wear this dress when I was a kid. Mom always looked so beautiful when she wore this. Taking a calming breath, Lucy pushed open the doors to her father's office.
Hello, Father. I'm glad you've come to your senses and returned home,
Jude said, as he turned to face his daughter.
Lucy.
I apologize for leaving without a word,
Lucy said, bowing to her father.
I should have told someone before I left. I worried you all unnecessarily. You shouldn't have left in the first place, Jude said, his voice harsh and stern. Sigh, but you've made a wise decision. If you had stayed in that filthy guild any longer, I would have used my vast wealth to destroy it.
You bastard, Lucy angrily thought, as she tightly clenched her fists. I won't let you lay a finger on my nakama. It seems you've finally grown up, Lucy,
Jude said, causing Lucy to hand her head. You've learned a very important lesson in just how destructive your selfishness can be.
You're the one being selfish here,
Lucy thought, as she bit her tongue so that she wouldn't start screaming at her father.
Using your fucking money to hurt me and my friends.
You probably don't even care that I was almost killed by one of Phantom Lord's members.
And all of this is because you wouldn't let me follow my own path in life.
You are a daughter of the Heartfilia family. You in a different life than those filthy mages, Jude said, causing Lucy to grit her teeth in anger.
The reason I called you back is because I found you a suitor. He is Prince Sawar, of the Junel family. You've met him a few times before.
He always expressed great interest in you.
Yes, I remember him,
Lucy said, as she remembered the disgusting man. The celestial spirit mage was revolted at the thought of meeting that slob again.
I'd rather die than marry that pig. By marrying into the Junel family, the Heartfilia railroads will be able to expand farther into the south,
Jude said, turning to gaze out the window. This marriage is very valuable to the future of the Heartfilia family. And you must give birth to a son to carry on our name. That's all. You can return to your room now,
Father,
Lucy said, as she raised her head. The celestial spirit mage's brown eyes were filled with defiance.
I'm not doing any of that.
The reason I came back here was to make one thing absolutely clear.
I know it was wrong of me to run away without telling anyone.
That's why I came all the way here to personally express my feelings. Lucy took a deep breath to prepare herself for what she was about to say.
I'm leaving this house, for good.
Lucy? Jude breathed out, his eyes slowly widening.
I will walk my own path,
Lucy exclaimed, as she glared at her father. You have absolutely no right to decide who I marry. Especially when I'm already in love with the greatest guy in the world.
And don't you ever even think of laying a finger on Fairy Tale again.
Lucy suddenly gripped the front of her pink dress.
Sorry about this, Mom. With a sudden violent motion, Lucy ripped open the dress she was wearing.
The next time you even try to hurt Fairy Tale,
No, the entire guild will consider you an enemy. And we destroy our enemies.
If you hadn't sent Phantom Lord after me, we could have continued this conversation civilly.
But it's far too late. You've caused too much harm to my nakama.
I don't give a shit about money or expensive clothes. I want a place where I can be loved and respected as Lucy, not Lucy Heartfilia, the heiress to the Heartfilia fortune. Lucy raised her right hand, proudly showing off her fairy tale guild mark.
Fairy tale is my home now.
Jude simply stood in stunned silence as Lucy continued her speech. However, when Lucy next spoke, her voice had lost its angry edge. I admit, because of my memories with Mother, it was painful for me to leave this house. Miss Speto, Grandpa Bello, Liban, and Ido, it was difficult to leave them as well. But, if Mother was still alive, I know she'd tell me to follow my own path. Giving her father a sad smile, Lucy turned and began to walk out of the office.
Farewell, Father.
When Lucy was out of the office, Jude slumped into the chair beside him and put his head in his hands.
20 minutes later, Layla Hartfilia's grave.
Hey Mom, it's been a while since I visited you in person. Lucy said, placing a bouquet of flowers on her mother's grave. Layla Hartfilia's grave was large and elegant, featuring an angel statue to watch over the grave.
I finally spoke with Father, and I've made my decision.
I'm really going to follow my own path, and I'm going to live my life to the fullest. Lucy nearly jumped out of her skin when she felt a strong hand squeeze her shoulder. The busty blonde whipped around to see Natsu smiling at her. Behind the dragon slayer stood Urza and Gray, with Happy flying overhead.
I'm proud of you, Luce. Natsu said, as he pulled Lucy in for a tight hug. I knew you could stand up to your father.
The pink-haired dragon slayer leaned forward and whispered into Lucy's ear. But maybe next time let me know before you do something like this.
Can't have my princess running off and getting herself in trouble.
Don't worry, Natsu, I don't plan on going anywhere anytime soon.
Lucy whispered, returning Natsu's embrace.
Lucy! Happy cried, as he crashed into the blonde. The blue cat buried his head into Lucy's chest, tears falling from his eyes.
I was so scared you were leaving us.
Oh, don't be silly, Happy. There's no way I could leave you guys, or Fairy Tale. Lucy said, hugging the blue cat closer.
The blonde celestial spirit mage gave Natsu a small smile. I have too many reasons to stay.
So this is your mother's grave?
Urza asked, as she crouched down to read the inscription on the tombstone.
I'm sorry for your loss, Lucy.
Don't be sorry, Urza.
Lucy replied, a sad smile on her face. She died when I was little, but I really loved her. My memories of my mother are the only reason I hesitated leaving this place.
Man, looks like I got all worked up over nothing.
Gray said, as he placed his hands behind his head.
I should have known Lucy wouldn't just up and leave like that, so we ready to head back?
Sure, I'm ready to go now. Lucy said, slinging her bag over shoulder.
I gotta say this town is pretty freaking huge.
Gray said, as he gazed over the rolling hills before him.
Ah well, this whole is just our garden. Lucy explained, giggling in embarrassment.
The blonde raised her hand, and pointed to the mountain range way off on the horizon. My family actually owns the land all the way up to the mountains in the distance. While Urza and Gray stood dumbfounded by what Lucy had just told them, Natsu still stood in front of Layla's grave.
The dual dragon slayer crouched down and gently ran his hand over the tombstone. Don't worry. Natsu leaned forward to better read the name on the grave.
Layla, I promise I'll take real good care of Lucy, and I always keep my promises. I'll do everything I can to make sure she's always smiling, and I'll give my life to keep her safe. So you don't have to worry about her anymore, just watch over her. Suddenly a gentle breeze blew past, causing a smile to spread across Natsu's face.
Thank you.
The pink-haired dragon slayer turned to look at the manor behind him.
Just one more thing to take care of. 2 hours later, train heading back to Magnolia. Hey Urza, Gray, have you seen Natsu or Happy anywhere?
Lucy asked, as she sat next to the scarlet-haired knight.
Because I haven't seen him a while.
Yes, that is strange.
Urza said, rubbing her chin.
He was laying his head on my lap, then out of nowhere he said he needed some fresh air. I didn't think anything of it at the time, but he's been gone almost a half hour. You know, Ash for Brains was acting funny ever since we left Lucy's old home. Gray said, as he crossed his arms over his chest.
Wait. Urza said, her eyes widening as realization struck her. You said Happy was missing too? You don't think Natsu flew off somewhere? Oh no!
Lucy exclaimed, as she cupped her hands over her mouth.
He probably went back for my dad. Damn him!
Urza yelled, slamming her fist onto the armrest, causing it to snap in half.
Why does he always do this? Well, there's nothing we can do,
Gray said, as he shut his eyes.
We'll just have to wait for him to get back once we get back to Magnolia.
TCH, you're right, Urza said, deflating in her seat.
He's get a nice scolding when I next see him. Natsu,
Lucy thought, as she stared out the window next to her.
Please don't do anything too rash. I may hate my father right now, but I don't want you to hurt him. Same time, Heartfilia Manor. Damn that girl.
Jude thought, trying his hardest to focus on the paperwork he was filling out. I was just trying to do what was best for the family. The company really needs the boost that the Janelle family could have provided, but all those things she said, she even said she's already found a lover. Layla, what would dash Jude's thoughts were cut off by a sudden knocking at his door. I do not wish to be disturbed, so please leave. The knocking continued, but this time more aggressive.
Did you not hear me? Go away. Whoever was at the door was now pounding on it. Go away.
Jude nearly jumped out of his chair when the door was suddenly kicked off its hinges. The Heartfilia patriarch growled in anger when he saw a pink-haired man enter his office.
My door. What the hell is your problem? Who the hell are you? The name's Natsu Dragneel, Natsu said in an angry tone as he slammed his hands onto Jude's desk. I'm here to tell you to stay the hell away from Lucy. Oh, I see, Jude said, spotting the fairy tale emblem on Natsu's shoulder.
You're one of the fairy tale bumpkins, here to threaten me. Well, listen here, Natsu, you're going to leave my office right now, and I'm going to bill your guild for a new door. If you don't leave, I'll make you and your guildmates' lives a living hell.
You're the one who needs to listen, Natsu growled as he tightened his grip on the desk. Jude flinched when the wood underneath Natsu's grasp cracked and splintered. I'm not here as a fairy tale mage. I'm here as Lucy's mate. Now I'm only going to repeat myself one more time. Natsu's hands suddenly became engulfed in flames, lighting the edge of Jude's desk on fire. You're going to stay the FUCK away from Lucy for a while. And you're going to leave Fairy Tale alone, forever. If I so much as think you're going to try and take Lucy again, I'll come back here and burn this place to the ground, with you inside. Giving Jude one last glare, Natsu began to walk out of the office. Mate? What are you? Some kind of animal? Jude asked, quickly attempting to put out the flames on his desk. An animal? No,
Natsu replied, as he turned his head to glare at Jude once again. I'm a dragon, and we don't take kindly to people hurting our loved ones.
Don't make me have to come back here. With those final words, Natsu left the office, leaving a trembling Jude to digest what he had just heard. That night, Magnolia. Finally back home,
Natsu said, stretching out his tired limbs. The Dragon Slayer was by himself, because Happy had flown on ahead. The blue cat had been complaining about having to carry Natsu, so he decided to give Happy a break and walk the rest of the way. As Natsu walked through Magnolia's empty streets, he unconsciously started making his way towards Lucy's home. Before he knew it, Natsu was standing in front of Lucy's apartment. Seeing that the lights were still on, Natsu climbed up to Lucy's window. The Dragon Slayer peeked inside the apartment and saw that Lucy was asleep at her writing desk.
Smiling softly, Natsu quietly opened the window and hopped into Lucy's apartment.
Natsu walked over to Lucy and gently picked her up bridal style, the blonde snuggling closer to Natsu. The dual Dragon Slayer laid Lucy down on her bed and tucked her underneath the covers. After placing a kiss on Lucy's head, Natsu turned to leave the apartment. But Natsu was stopped when he felt something tugging on his vest. Natsu turned back around to see that Lucy was now awake and staring up at him.
Sorry for waking you, Luce. Don't leave,
Lucy said, as a faint blush spread across her face.
I want you to stay here tonight. Are you sure, Luce? I don't want to be a bother. Natsu said, rubbing the back of his head. I'm sure.
Lucy said, as she patted the open spot on the bed next to her.
So please, don't go. I can never say no to you.
Natsu said with a smile, crawling into the bed next to Lucy. As soon as Natsu was under the covers, Lucy immediately hugged him close.
You okay, Luce? You're acting kinda weird. Did you do anything to my father?
Lucy asked, which caused Natsu's eyes to widen momentarily.
So you figured out that's where I went? Natsu said, scratching his cheek.
But the look Lucy was giving told Natsu that he couldn't dance around this question.
No, I didn't do anything to your dad. All I did was give him a warning. A warning?
Lucy repeated, as she quirked a blonde eyebrow. I told him not to mess with my girl or my guild ever again.
Natsu said, smiling down at Lucy.
The Dragon Slayer smirked when he saw Lucy's face darken several shades. The blonde quickly turned her head away to hide her massive blush.
God, she's so adorable when she's embarrassed. Natsu smiled and pulled Lucy even closer. Don't worry, Luce, I won't let anyone take you away from Fairy Tale. Because this is where you belong, surrounded by the people who love you.
I'll always protect you, Luce, and be by your side whenever you need me.
Natsu.
Lucy breathed out, as she locked eyes with Natsu. The blonde's eyes were full of love, as a few stray tears fell down her cheeks.
I love you.
Now is the perfect time.
She is ready and so are you. Claim her. I love you too, Luce. Natsu said, leaning forward to capture Lucy's lips in a passionate kiss.
But this kiss was different from all their others. This kiss was full of lust and desire. The kiss quickly became more heated, and Natsu soon found himself on top of Lucy, her full breasts pressing against his chest. Natsu's tongue battled with Lucy's as both mages let their lust take over. When Natsu and Lucy broke for air, they were blushing fiercely and slightly panting.
Natsu, I want you.
Lucy said, as she ran her hand down Natsu's cheek.
I'm ready if you are. Are you sure, Luce? There's no going back once we do this.
Natsu said, wanting to give Lucy a chance to back out.
You're sweet for asking.
Lucy said, as she leaned forward and kissed Natsu.
The blonde gently pushed Natsu backwards so that she was straddling his hips. But I want to do this with you, Natsu. I love you, so I want you to claim me. A lustful smirk spread across Lucy's face when she felt Natsu's erection pressing against her ass. And it looks like your little dragon is ready to go too. All right, Luce, you asked for it. Natsu said, a lustful grin on his face. Well then.
Lucy said with half-lidded eyes, as she beckoned Natsu closer with her index finger.
Come and get me, Natsu, I'm all yours. Holy shit, I love Luce's sexy side. Natsu thoughts, practically pouncing the busty blonde.
The pink-haired Dragon Slayer captured Lucy's lips in a fiery kiss, eliciting a moan from the blonde mage.
However, as Natsu kissed Lucy, he ran into a problem. What do I do now? This is my first time ever doing something like this. Just let your instincts take over. Don't think, just do what you think is right. Okay, I guess I'll wing it.
Natsu thought, as he ran his hands up Lucy's sides.
The Dragon Slayer's warm and tingling hands caused Lucy to moan into their kiss. Deciding to test the waters, Natsu's hands slowly snaked up to cup the bottom of Lucy's massive breasts. When Lucy didn't protest, Natsu gave the large orbs of flesh a quick squeeze.
Lucy immediately broke their kiss to let out a loud moan. Thinking that he had hurt her, Natsu immediately stopped what he was doing.
You okay, Luce? Why'd you stop?
Lucy panted out, seeing the concerned look in Natsu's eyes. The blonde smiled as she reaching down to unzip her white and blue shirt.
You didn't hurt me, Natsu.
In fact, that felt amazing. Natsu's eyes shot open when Lucy shrugged off her shirt and threw it across the room. The Dragon Slayer's jaw hung open as Lucy reached behind her back and unhooked her lacy blue bra. Your hands feel amazing, Natsu, and I want to feel them all over my body. With a teasing smile, Lucy took off her bra and dropped it on the floor.
Natsu couldn't believe what he was seeing.
Lucy's bare tits were barely a foot away from his face.
Natsu was positive that Lucy's breasts broke some law of physics. Despite their massive size, Lucy's breasts didn't show any hints of sagging.
They were perfectly round, and jiggled slightly with each breath Lucy took. The busty blonde's nipples were also fully erect, showing that she really was turned right now.
Natsu didn't know what to do, his mind seemed to shut down as he stared at Lucy's boobs.
But then Lucy said something that caused Natsu's heart to skip a beat.
"Go ahead, Natsu," Lucy whispered hotly into Natsu's ear.
Her lustful tone caused a shiver to run down Natsu's spine.
"Touch them."
It was probably the greatest thing Natsu had ever heard. Now knowing that he had full permission, Natsu reached forward and cupped one of Lucy's breasts in each hand.
Natsu couldn't believe how soft the large orbs of flesh were. With each squeeze, Lucy's breasts would mold around Natsu's fingers.
The pink-haired dragon slayer had a field day with Lucy's tits, groping the massive mounds of flesh and pinching the blonde's erect nipples. Deciding to be a little more adventurous, Natsu took one of Lucy's breasts into his mouth, sucking on the erect nipple and swirling his tongue around the nub. While Natsu's mouth occupied one tit, his hand massaged and kneaded the other.
Natsu's ministrations were turning Lucy into a moaning mess. The blonde celestial spirit mage couldn't focus on anything except the pleasure she was feeling.
Another low moan escaped Lucy's lips, as she felt herself starting to get wet.
As Natsu continued to grope Lucy's breasts, an intoxicating scent suddenly hit his nose.
It was the same scent from his daydream.
The smell overwhelmed Natsu's senses, and made him even more horny.
The dragon slayer released Lucy's breasts and descended lower down her body.
"And Natsu?
What are you doing?" Lucy moaned loudly when Natsu began to massage her womanhood through her panties.
"I can smell you loose,"
Natsu said in a husky tone, as he leaned closer to the blonde, his face only a few inches away from hers. The dragon slayer continued to rub Lucy's pussy as he spoke. Lucy began to pant slightly as Natsu slid off her skirt.
"You're really turned on right now, aren't you?"
"Fuck yes.
I want you so bad right now,"
Lucy screamed, feeling a warm sensation building in the pit of her stomach. However, Lucy suddenly felt a strange burning heat, then she could faintly smell smoke. Looking down, Lucy squeaked when she saw that she was not completely naked. A small pile of ash was all that remained of her lacy blue panties.
"Natsu! That was my favorite pair." "Don't worry," Natsu said, as he locked eyes with Lucy.
The lust in the dragon slayer's eyes caused Lucy to shiver in anticipation. "I'll buy you another pair later."
Before Lucy had a chance to speak, Natsu attacked her now exposed pussy. Natsu's tongue delved into Lucy's wet folds.
The dragon slayer followed his instincts and did whatever he felt was right, and judging from the lewd moans escaping Lucy's lips, Natsu knew he was doing a pretty good job for his first time.
"Oh my god! Natsu!
How are you so good at this?" Lucy screamed, arching her back slightly off the bed.
While Natsu's burning tongue probed her womanhood, Lucy was a writhing and squirming mess.
Sweat formed on Lucy's brow as she bit her bottom lip to hold in her moans of ecstasy. Lucy had no idea how Natsu was doing it, but the dragon slayer seemed to be hitting all of her sweet spots. She could feel the burning sensation building up in the pit of her stomach once again. Lucy knew that her orgasm was rapidly approaching, but she still needed one last push to go over the edge.
As Natsu lavished in the taste of Lucy's juices, he spotted a small nub of flesh.
Reaching out, Natsu gave the nub a quick squeeze. What Natsu didn't know was that he had just pinched Lucy's clitoris, and that was the push she needed to experience her orgasm. Lucy let out a scream of pure pleasure as her orgasm rocked her whole body.
Holy shit, I've never came that hard,"
Lucy panted out, as she to catch her breath.
"Damn, you taste good loose," Natsu said, licking Lucy's juices of his lips.
"Well," Lucy said, as she sat up and gently pushing Natsu back onto her bed.
"I think it's my turn to return the favor. Now let's get your clothes off, because it's not fair that I'm the only one naked right now."
Natsu had never thrown off his clothes so fast in his entire life, but when he reached for his boxers, Lucy stopped him.
No, let me do those.
With a lustful smirk on her face, Lucy ran her hand over the impressive bulge in Natsu's boxers, causing the dragon slayer to let out a low moan. Tugging on the waistband, Lucy suddenly yanked off Natsu's boxers, which freed his trapped dragon. Lucy gasped when she saw Natsu's bare cock. The blonde had seen several male genitalia before in the more risque magazines she had seen after she ran away from home, and the erotic novel she had read gave her a pretty good idea of what to expect. But Natsu blew all of those expectations out of the water. If Lucy had to guesstimate, she'd say the dragon slayer's manhood stood erect at around 10 inches. How does he walk around with that thing between his legs? Well, here goes nothing. Slowly reaching out, Lucy gently gripped Natsu's shaft. Much like the rest of his skin, Natsu's cock was hot to the touch and sent pleasurable electric tingles throughout Lucy's body. Natsu groaned in pleasure and leaned his head back, as Lucy slowly massaged his cock with her soft hands. Lucy's face was burning in both embarrassment and arousal as she stroked the pink-haired dragon slayer's manhood. Once Lucy was sure Natsu was fully erect, she took a deep breath to calm her nerves. Natsu was thoroughly enjoying Lucy's handjob, but he almost yelped when he felt something incredibly warm and wet wrap around his manhood. Looking down, Natsu's eyes nearly bugged out when he saw that Lucy had his cock in her mouth. "Fuck loose," Natsu moaned out, gently grabbing a hold of Lucy's long blonde hair. "Where did you learn how to do this?" Lucy slowly bobbed her head up and down on Natsu's manhood, taking as much of it into her mouth as she could. Whatever her mouth couldn't reach, she stroked with one of her free hands. Lucy wasn't experienced in performing fellatio, but she tried her best and used the information she had gained from the magazines and smutty books she had read. Remembering a passage from one of her books, Lucy swirled her tongue around the head of Natsu's cock and used her other hand to massage his balls. Lucy continued to suck Natsu's manhood, trying to take more of it in each time she bobbed her head. But every time Lucy tried to get further down Natsu's cock, her gag reflexes would kick in. After several attempts, the busty blonde gave up, and opted to practice and try again another time. Natsu suddenly began to slightly buck his hips, as Lucy felt his cock start to twitch. Knowing what was about to come, Lucy began to bob her head faster. "I'm coming!" Natsu yelled, as he grabbed a hold of Lucy's head to hold her in place. Lucy's eyes widened when Natsu's hot seed began to fill her mouth. The busty blonde managed to swallow all of it despite the large amount. The dragon slayer was panting slightly as he released Lucy's head. "Damn, Luce, that was amazing." Not bad," Lucy said with a seductive smile, licking the excess cum of her lips. "I wouldn't mind tasting that again. But now." Lucy's eyes were full of lust and need as she slowly crawled up Natsu's body, rubbing her dripping womanhood against Natsu's still erect penis. "It's time we get to the main event. You're still absolutely sure about this, Luce?" "I don't mind waiting until you're fully ready," Natsu said, wanting to give Lucy one last chance. "Again, you're sweet for asking," Lucy said, as she leaned forward and gently kissed Natsu on the lips. "But my answer is still the same. I want this, Natsu. I want to be one with you. I want you to claim me." "Okay, then your wish is my command," Natsu said, smiling up at the blonde. "Here I go," Lucy said, as she grabbed a hold of Natsu's manhood. The busty blonde lined Natsu's cock up with her pussy, and slowly began to drop down. Both mages hissed as more and more of Natsu entered Lucy. The dragon slayer was shocked at how tight the celestial spirit mage was, while Lucy was amazed at how much Natsu stretched and filled her. After about a minute, Lucy had fully impaled herself on Natsu's manhood. Lucy had always heard how a girl's first time was a painful experience. But Lucy was surprised when she didn't feel much pain, just some discomfort due to Natsu's size. "You okay, Luce?" Natsu asked in a concerned tone, seeing the look on Lucy's face. "I know it's supposed to hurt the first time for a girl." "I'm fine, Natsu," Lucy replied, as she wriggled her hips a little to get more comfortable, which in turn caused the dragon slayer to moan slightly at the sudden motion. "It's weird, but I don't really feel any pain."
Just give me a few minutes to get used to you. Natsu nodded his head and smiled at the busty blonde. Lucy returned Natsu's smile and laid her head against his chest while she waited. A few minutes later, Lucy experimentally rolled her hips.
Instead of discomfort, pleasure shot through Lucy's body, causing her to release a soft moan.
You can start moving now, Natsu. I'm gonna start then, Natsu said, slowly pulling out of Lucy.
Both mages moaned at the movement. When Natsu was about halfway out, he thrust back in. Natsu had to hold himself back from violently pounding into the blonde. His instincts told him to throw Lucy down onto the bed and ravish her, to make her scream his name in pleasure. But this was Lucy's first time, and Natsu knew he had to take it easy for now. He would have her screaming his name in due time. Until then, he had to keep the dragon inside him caged.
Fuck, you're so tight loose. Shit. This feels amazing, Natsu.
Lucy moaned loudly, as she began to rock her hips in time with Natsu's thrusts. Soon both mages had found a steady and pleasurable rhythm. As Lucy slowly bounced up and down, Natsu reached up and grabbed the busty blonde's jiggling breasts. Lucy moaned in pleasure as Natsu's warm hands massaged her breasts. The busty blonde enjoyed the slow and filling tempo they had going, but she wanted to experience everything the Dragon Slayer had to offer.
Ah! Natsu! Harder! Faster! Please!
Lucy's moan inspired Natsu to pick up the pace. He grabbed a hold of Lucy's hips and began to pound into her wet pussy faster.
Lucy howled in ecstasy as her pleasure shot through the roof. As Natsu continued to pound into her, Lucy leaned forward and pulled Natsu in for a fiery kiss. Both mages moaned as their tongues began to battle for dominance.
However, Lucy squeaked in surprise when she felt Natsu suddenly pick her up.
Moments later, Lucy felt her back hit the bed as Natsu loomed over her. With a lustful smirk, the Dragon Slayer once again started to rapidly thrust piston in and out of Lucy.
The busty blonde let out a loud moan, because of the pleasure the new position offered.
Fuck! Natsu, you're amazing!
Lucy screamed, arching her back off the bed. Natsu leaned his head forward and began to suck on one of Lucy's erect nipples, as he continued to make love to the blonde mage.
Shit! I'm getting so close, Natsu. I'm almost there too, Luce. Natsu grunted out after giving Lucy's nipple a quick bite. The blonde's large breasts were now red from Natsu's near-constant groping.
The Dragon Slayer could feel a familiar sensation as he felt his own orgasm quickly approaching.
After a few more minutes of intense pounding, Natsu was finally at his limit. Fuck! Where do you want it, Luce? Inside. I want to feel it all inside me,
Lucy exclaimed, as she went over the edge into her second orgasm of their lovemaking session.
Now is the time. You must mark her now. Claim her.
Right as Natsu began to release his seed into Lucy, he bit down into the crook of her neck, pumping some of his magic into her. The blonde screamed in a mixture of pain and pleasure as the bite only seemed to enhance her own orgasm. A few moments later, Natsu released Lucy's neck and slowly pulled out of her, a mixture of both their sexual juices following after him. The Dragon Slayer plopped down onto the bed, with Lucy laying down next to him. Both mages were panting slightly as Lucy drew lazy circles on Natsu's muscular chest.
Holy shit, that was amazing, Luce,
Natsu said, turning to flash the busty blonde a wide grin.
Yes, it really was fantastic, Natsu,
Lucy said, as a lustful smirk spread across her face.
Natsu quirked an eyebrow when he felt one of Lucy's hands snake down his body.
Then the Dragon Slayer moaned as Lucy began to stroke his cock back to life.
Lucy then rolled on top of Natsu once again.
In fact, I want to do it again, if you're up to my dragon. Natsu growled slightly when he saw the pure lust in Lucy's half-lidded eyes. The blonde began giggle when Natsu lunged forward and began to kiss her neck. It was time for him to release his inner dragon.
The next morning,
with a soft yawn, Lucy awoke from her peaceful slumber. The blonde smiled when she felt a strong arm wrapped around her waist. She turned her head slightly to see that Natsu was still fast asleep. Planting a quick kiss on Natsu's cheek, Lucy gently removed his arm and made her way to the bathroom. Lucy flicked on the bathroom light and began to step into the shower. She was a little sore from their long night of lovemaking, especially after their first time. Natsu seemed to turn into a complete beast after that. The numerous bite marks and soreness between her legs were a testament to that. Stepping out of the shower, Lucy wrapped a towel around herself and went to brush her teeth. But when the blonde looked in the mirror, she gasped. Lucy quickly rubbed her eyes to make sure she wasn't seeing things. But nothing seemed to change. Lucy couldn't believe her eyes, as she ran her hands through her long hair. Instead of pure blonde hair, Lucy's normally blonde locks now sported several streaks of pink hair, similar in color to Natsu's.
Natsu! Get in here now!
Lucy screamed, which caused the dragon slayer to spring out of bed and sprint to the bathroom.
What's wrong, Luce?
Natsu exclaimed, as he burst through the bathroom door.
This!
Lucy yelled, tugging on a few of her new pink locks.
What happened to my hair? I must have happened because I claimed you. Natsu reasoned, as he walked up to Lucy. I guess it's to show people that you're my mate.
Don't get me wrong, Natsu, I want to be your mate and I do love you. But, I didn't want people to know just yet, especially Urza. Lucy said, turning back to look in the mirror. The blonde released a light sigh as she stared at her new pink hair. It's so obvious now, there's no way I can hide this.
Don't worry about it, Luce.
Natsu said, as he wrapped his arms around Lucy's waist and kissed her neck. I'll handle letting people in the guild know, and I'll deal with Urza when the time comes.
I love her and want her to join us too. Heh, it feels kinda weird to hear you say you love another woman.
Lucy said with a small smile.
But it's something I'll have to get used to.
Lucy reached down and placed her hands on top of Natsu's.
But I know that you love me too, and that's all that matters to me.
You have a big heart, Natsu Dragneel, so I know you'll make time for all of your girls.
I knew you'd understand, Luce. Natsu said, kissing the top of Lucy's head. However, something on Lucy's neck caught Natsu's eye.
Hey Luce, when did you get a tattoo?
Huh?
Lucy said, as she turned so that she could look at her neck in the mirror. The blonde's eyes shot open when she saw what appeared to be a tattoo on the crook of her neck, right where Natsu had originally bit her. The mark sported a red dragon encased in orange flames with little sparks of lightning scattered amongst the flames. Something Mira Jane had said flashed through Lucy's mind. This must have been the mate mark she was talking about.
Great, there's really no hiding it now.
That wraps up this part of What If Natsu Had Dual Elements.
Thanks so much for listening.
As always, new parts drop every 4 days, so be sure to stay tuned. Also check out my Patreon channel for early releases of all the series, where you can find all the series released one day ahead of YouTube. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and please consider supporting the original author as well.
See you in the next one.